Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Freaky Fast Broadcasting on your Monday night. Tonight, we give you the coverage of the ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series. As we are inching closer and closer to the playoffs, it is time for these drivers to hit their marks because this could be one of the final turning points of the regular season. We've got tonight at Auto Club, we've got New Hampshire, Charlotte, and Atlanta to watch out for, but tonight's race at Auto Club is going to be a fun one. It's your Moarcast 210 here at Auto Club, a track that currently no longer exists in real life, but luckily it exists on iRacing, a track that's beloved by so many on the service. But like I said, tonight's going to be a very important race. This is the fourth to last race of the regular season, and this is the last time really a lot of these drivers can go for a chance to point their way in because their top 12 look pretty solidified. It might come down to a must-win scenario, but it all starts here again at Auto Club. Welcome to Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me in the booth, as always, is Zach Hall. And Zach, what a track to be back at Auto Club. We have been here for the last couple of seasons in a row, since season 4 to now, and we get to test out this track once again.
Always a bittersweet moment when you come to Auto Club. You know, bitter because we've lost this track, like you said, in the real life racing series, and it no longer existing, unfortunately. But also a sweet moment because we have it here on iRacing. You know, one of the better racetracks, in my opinion, of how it races. Just, I think, very much a driver favorite. If you talk to a lot of drivers, there's not many that talk about Auto Club in a bad light. So it should be some interesting racing. And with the truck series here tonight, I don't think you're going to see much separation. It's going to be pretty much close between all 28, 27 drivers we have here tonight. So it's going to be fun to see once they drop the green flag how the separation affects, how his tires play out, these track position kings. So there's a lot of questions, I think, on a lot of the minds out here of drivers, but you really won't know till that green flag finally does fly.
Once we find ourselves into the warm-up period, which is going to be after qualifying that starts here shortly, we'll give you a more in-depth look at what the points are at right now. But there are a couple of drivers of note that will be missing out on tonight's race. We've got Chase Schaefer, who made his grand return last week at Mosport. He is going to be taking tonight off, same for Justin Smith. And then also we want to say thoughts and prayers to all those who are affected by the hurricanes and also are taking shelter for this upcoming hurricane. But it looks like for Steve McComas, he's going to be another driver that's going to miss out on tonight, who may even miss out on next week. But all thoughts and prayers again to McComas and also all those who have been affected by the hurricanes. But tonight's race, we're about to get ready for qualifying. It's going to be around 28 drivers racing here this evening. On top of that, we also have our Moarcast 5. 5 drivers were randomly selected that have not been a part of the Moarcast 5 this season. And the 5 drivers to watch out for are going to be Danny Cochran, Ethan Smith, Aaron Krolick, and Samuel Garcia. And then just because he made his announcement late, it looks to be Justin Smith. Instead of a Moarcast 5, it's going to be a Moarcast 4. Whoever is the highest runner of the 4 drivers gets a little bit of cash at the end of the night. So watch out for Danny Cochran, Ethan Smith, Krolick, and Garcia here this evening. And looking at the drivers that are here tonight, I think we might be missing even some of them. So it's going to be even a smaller pool of drivers to watch out for because it looks like Aaron Krolick's not here. So it's going to be the 3 drivers of Danny Cochran, Ethan Smith, and Garcia. Whoever's the furthest up ahead of those 3 going to get a little bit of extra cash, which could be nice to grab with some of the seasons that they've been having. But practice just finishes up, and now we enter into qualifying. All drivers have 2 laps to put down their fastest lap, but if you hit the wall, that lap will be invalidated, and you only have 5 minutes to do so. One driver can't do it, though, because of a penalty last week after the post-race. Danny Cochran, given an L2 penalty, will not be able to qualify here tonight, and as well was given a dock of negative 15 points entering into tonight because of a post-race driver conduct penalty, as he was making some comments that the admins deemed was a little bit too far, and they deemed that he deserved an L2 penalty. That's going to be hurting Danny a lot. But Zach, into qualifying, this is going to be something key to watch out for. This track is so big, so many places to go, but track position may be a key place to be.
Very well, I think it's going to be a huge thing. Track position is going to be something we talk about pretty much from the drop of the green flag all the way down to the checker flag. And the reason I think that that's going to be the case is we've seen this new trend with the trucks since the update we got, a season back ago. It's really been one of those cases where you want to be out front. You don't want to be giving up too many spots. You want to be staying more towards the front end of the field because you don't really have that ability to pass later in the run like we had seen from these trucks. So I think that's going to be even a stronger case here tonight, just due with the drafting nature of this racetrack. We're also going into the nighttime conditions, which only brings the grip level up. The speed's higher, the draft that much more important. So it's going to be one of those races where I think you want to position yourself up front and be able to stay out of the trouble, as they say in these drafting style tracks. Put down this qualifying lap on a little bit of connection jumps, but looks like he'll get it figured out here off of 4.
Trying to get it figured out for himself. Trenton Jump, past winner of this track back in season 5. Other past pole sitters of this race, Cedric Hunter, Danny Cochran, and Nick Crawford, were the 3 drivers, as Nick Crawford found himself getting the pole and winning last season. Came down a little bit of strategy. The strategy's going to be a little bit different here tonight because it was a much shorter race that those drivers had. It was 80 laps in total the drivers got to run, with that stage caution at lap 20, and that was a caution that was thrown, really reset and made the race into a one-stop. And I mean, a lot more of when did you feel like coming into pit road? Well, tonight going to be a lot more of an open setting of when will you feel the most comfortable pitting, because it's going to be 105 laps here this evening as drivers are coming across the line for their second times. Ollie Fonseca going to be the fastest driver currently in the 24 machine with a 40.029 second lap time. That's almost 5 100ths of a second faster than Trenton Jump, who's looked to be one of the faster drivers based off of qualifying. 45's got a little bit of work to do. Here's a couple of other drivers going with the delayed start, waiting for the track maybe to cool down slightly more. Jared Talmadge in the 61 hits the track.
You know, that's something a lot of these drivers try to pull is, you know, as the time goes on, that shadow starts to grow more and more as the sun continues to drop in the sky. They're hoping for any little bit of track temp, air temperature gain they can get, because times will continue to drop. And as we said, that times did drop. Justin Sipes in the 80 to the top of the board. Let's see if any others can take that position away from that 80 machine. That'd be a great spot looking for that team.
And it's the second lap you're really looking for. See how Talmadge is going to be setting up this lap, and can he get around quick enough to finish this lap in the next for himself. Justin Sipes, his pole time, 8 1,000ths of a second faster than Ollie Fonseca. Quick time we got to see from the 80 machine as he's out there trying to grab a pole for himself, trying to become another driver, as this is going to be race number 9 and looking to be our 8th different pole sitter. The only driver to have 2 poles this season is John Forbes. See if these can sneak their way in and get their second pole, or will we see more diversity throughout this season as Jared Talmadge, 58 seconds left, plenty of time to finish another lap as he starts his money lap for the 61.
See how great a lap this can play out for this driver's. Talmadge just, you know, had really a very, I'd say, unfortunate season for himself. It's just been bad luck after bad luck, and I think that's why we saw the number change from him, and I don't think it's come back to help him much, as, you know, he had such a great season the last season where it was really great consistency he's shown. This season, it's just been turmoil.
He certainly has. Ethan Smith with the shocker, the 00 top of the board. Talmadge hoping to beat out that time. It was a 40.010 second lap time. The 61 across the line. He was 26th on the board, only able to bounce up to 8th. Christopher Norris able to bounce up to 6th position. And Cedric Hunter and Larry Yangling going to come shotting in 14th and 15th. And with Danny Cochran not able to qualify, Jesse Thornock missing out, and Joshua Freed not qualifying, looks to be your pole sitter here this evening. Ethan Smith out of nowhere, the 00 finding that sneaky speed.
What a lap from Ethan Smith there. That is great to see for the 00. Maybe a time to get back to the top.
Ethan Smith, part of the drivers that really needs to have probably the most perfect rest of the season. Might have to win a couple of times to find himself into the playoffs, but as we enter our warm-ups, it's going to be a 5-minute period for these drivers to get any last-minute practice, figure out where their pit stalls are, and as well enables us to take a look at how this season is built up to this moment as we take a look into our point standings. Top 12 drivers, just based off raw points, will make it into the playoffs. Everyone else from 13th to 20th, if you find yourself with a win, you'll be added as an extra driver into the playoffs. And currently, right now, your top of the board in points is Vincent Sora, coming off of his first win of the season. Crazy to say that. Last week at Canadian Tire, but at that cutoff line, some critical drivers are right there at that bubble spot. I mean, Zach, crazy to think Mark Whitley is our cutoff driver at this moment with just a 38-point buffer between himself and Jared Talmadge.
It is crazy to think that he would be that cutoff driver, so to say. The one thing he does have to fall back on though is he does have that win, so he would be added in as a wild card driver, of course, with that win, but still not been the greatest season for him. But someone like a Jared Talmadge, Danny Cochran, Samuel Garcia, who are right here, they really want to have good nights through these next 4 weeks so they can maybe bump Whitley out and get themselves in based on points instead of have to go out and grab a win.
And for Mark Whitley, he's currently not in the server, so that could be given a chance for Jared Talmadge and many of others, because you look from Talmadge all the way back to, I would say, maybe even that 20th place. They're all in reaching distance between one another in points, so it can really come down to a ruler on who's going to be that driver to be that last to point their way in. It's going to be a fun one to watch, that's for sure. But other drivers, I mean, Danny Cochran with his 15-point deduction, he could be really fighting for that final spot between himself and Jared Talmadge. He's got a little bit more work to do, though, if he wants to be in that spot. But talked about the fact that Vincent Sora, last week's winner. Let's take a look at who else has won this season as we take a look at our schedule so far for season 7. And race winners, got to see John Forbes, Mark Whitley, Presley Sora, your first 3. And then we saw Nick Crawford, Cody Reed, Nick Crawford again being a multi-time winner so far this season. Thomas Green, his redemption run at Gateway, and then last week being Vincent Sora. But we've had a variety of different winners, variety of different pole sitters. This has been a strong season overall for the ISRC guys.
It really has been. It's been a huge variety of different winners and just a really mixed up bag of group of drivers. So it's going to be fun to see how October plays out, because we got all 4 of the final regular season races here in October. So those drivers we talked about before are going to have to be perfect here in these next 4.
And then after that, after these next 4 races, Talladega all the way down to Chicagoland, it is a chase format playoffs, meaning it is about who's got the best amount of points throughout those 6 races will be able to hoist the championship for season 7. As these drivers put on a great show so far this season, there's a few drivers, though, on our mind of those to watch out for. Talked about those that need a good showing, and here's going to be our pick'ems, as this is our segment that we usually take a look at who are drivers we think could win or watch out for. And my pick is going to be Danny Cochran. Coming off of a penalty, he's got to start all the way at the end of the line. This 2 machine has pace here in the past. He's got a lot of work. You have to watch out for the 2 of Danny Cochran. But Zach, who do you have as your pick'em here this evening?
Well, the driver tonight I'm going to pick is a driver I feel like has had good past success here at Auto Club and has shown speed before. That's going to be the 16, Joshua Kanata. So we'll see how his night works out. I think Kanata going to have one of those special types of nights. It's a driver that's known to stay out of big trouble. I think he'll be there at the end.
And then our third member of our group up here in Freaky Fast Broadcasting, always in the back, we've got Robert Moyer Jr., and he's going with a very oddball pick that we have not seen this driver a lot this season. Making his return, it's Braden Lassiter, who's going to be a driver to watch out for in the 31. I'm curious on what this 31 is going to have on speed, because Zach, the last time he was out there on track, didn't look the fastest, but we're hoping to see maybe a little bit of swing here this evening.
That's for sure. And also, that was a road course, so, Oval's definitely going to probably be more in the wheelhouse of that driver. So we'll see how Brayton can take the track here tonight at Auto Club. But I can tell you one thing, when this warm-up's over and we get these guys out on track, it's going to be fun to see how the racing starts off.
I want to say thank you to everyone that is joining with us this evening. Once again, we are proud to give you the coverage of the ISRC Larry R Productions Truck Series here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall. Running productions in the background, as always, is Robert Moyer Jr., as we're about to be giving you the coverage of the Moarcast 210 here at Auto Club. Warm-up is coming to a close. We just got done with practice, qualifying, and now warm-up. You see the lights dim even more as the track lights click on. It means it is race time here this evening. Here's your starting grid. grid for the Moarcast 210. Taking the pole award first time this season. Ethan Smith in the 00. Gonna be sitting up top. To his outside. Gonna be Justin Sipes in the 80 machine. Ali Fonseca gonna be starting in row number 2 in third place with Joshua Kanata in fourth. John Forbes, winner multiple times here in the past. Hoping to get into victory lane here for the first time in Auto Club, starting in 5th place. Christopher Norris gonna be starting in 6th, hoping to be joining his teammates with the win this season, and he's surrounded by them. 7th is Nick Crawford from that Snowy Desert Racing team. Jared Talmadge in 8th position with Trenton Junk, winner here from season 5, gonna be starting back in 9th, and Joshua Snowball gonna be finishing out our top 10.
Starting 11th, it's going to be the 50 is Samuel Garcia. Alongside him in 12th, it's going to be the 18 of Thomas Green. 13th in qualifying is going to go to Michael Miller, with 14th going to the 13 is Cedric Hunter. 15th in qualifying is going to be the 67 of Larry England, with 16th going to the 9 of Justin Campbell. 17th is going to be the 19 of Tyler Dingler, with 18th position going to Robert's pick of Brayton Laster. 19th is going to be the 53 of Eric Stamp, and rounding out the top 20 is the 12 of Presley Sora.
Big shout out to Presley Sora. He was out in Toledo in the ARCA series. I actually had a sticker of the logo of the ISRC Lara Production Truck Series on that vehicle. Had some great moments, wasn't able to finish out the way that he wanted, but we're proud of Presley and the way he raced on Sunday. But finishing back to the grid, we got the 21st position for of Justin Forbes. Then in 22nd position, we get the 5 Dakota Moniz with Isaac Shelley. In 23rd, 24th is the 18 of Martin Morales Jr. Cody Reed starting deep in the field. Still be back in 25th for the 25. Also starting deep in the field is going to be Vincent Sora in 26th with Danny Cochran 27th. Starting also with an EOL, so we'll be further back in the back of the line with Joshua Freed and Jesse Thornock finishing out our 29 drivers here tonight. I know coming off the last week, we're not a lot of drivers showing up for road courses. It's a tough track, but back to the ovals, back to the bigger machines. Zach, tonight could be chaotic. We know that because of looking at the past. We've had anywhere from 5 to 10 cautions here at Auto Club in the past 3 races, but also look back at the past in this season. Back in Michigan, we had a lot of cautions during that race. Tonight, I think a lot of drivers have some worry of what this evening can bring.
Very well could bring some interesting feelings and some definitely hurt ones after, because like you said, this place is known to have its carnage, have its bumps and bruises, so to say, when the drivers get into each other. We just race so close around here, and sometimes stuff just comes to a point and we get in trouble with each other. But we'll see how it works out. I mean, of course, no stage caution. We do have a stage for those points, but no stage caution to be thrown. If we were to go green, it's a 2-stop race. You can go 37 laps on fuel. They'll probably look to stretch it around 75 laps.
Yeah, 105 laps, like you said. Also, like you said, with the lap 20 stage. But if there is a yellow between lap 15 and 20, that would count as our stage break. So drivers know that they are still racing for a kind of a track and lap limit, as they will try to get as aggressive as they can here early on. No fast repair, only 4 extra sets of tires in pit road. And the field is set and ready to give us some of the best racing action on iRacing, as the ISRC Lariat Production Truck Series sees that pace car pull off. We enter the restart zone, and your Moarcast 210 here at Auto Club is underway with Sipes, Smith, and they're already wrecking on the inside. No trouble getting to the grass. Multiple drivers, and they're even wrecking further on back. What in the world just happened? I don't even know where to even start, Zach. It just looked like 6 drivers just pulled off like it was a complete issue all around.
Wow, I don't know if Ethan Smith or Lear didn't get going very good, and Fonseca, got rear-ended there, and he got turned around. I mean, you had the likes of Nick Crawford, John Forbes almost wrecking there. You had Tyler Dingler going around from getting hit from checkups. I mean, that was carnage there on the first lap.
Ali Fonseca looked weird. His bump. But again, it was up front. Ali Fonseca, also going to be John Forbes. Drivers up ahead were the initial ones. And then there was this further on back issue that currently we're watching. This is a further on back that kind of was a chain reaction that I was most baffled by, on top of the issues further on back. It looked like drivers were trying to check up, and they just found themselves getting into wrecks.
Oh man, Cochran going to take a hit to the inside wall there. The 19 of Dingler. of course. But yeah, like you said, it all kind of really started around our leaders of Fonseca there up in the 24. He had the likes of John Forbes right underneath him in the 11. I don't know exactly, what happens. We will get a good look right here soon.
You're going to see into the restart zone. Front two are taking off at decent speeds. It kind of looked like a netcode pushback on the 24, or maybe did Ollie money shift? We didn't see an engine blow, so it was very odd up front. And then the middle of the group, we'll take another look at that after this replay, but I know Tyler Dangler also had his own issues in the middle. I think he might have jabbed the brakes and spun him out, but really looking at this 24, did he get hit? Did something go wrong? It just was confusing right there. It just looked like the 24 didn't take off and everyone else was already stuck behind him, and it just got worse.
Yeah, I think almost it's like Ollie couldn't get it into the next gear. It's like he went from second to third, couldn't get it out of third into fourth, or it was either the shift from second to third. So like, sometimes we start in first gear and we got those really quick shifts, and then that next shift can happen pretty quickly too after that, and that can lead to issues. But yeah, the whole checkup mess, it really trickled down back to that 19 Tyler Dingler. That's what kind of really brought out the caution, I would so to say. But yeah, I think they all got kind of stuck together, and the 24 couldn't get going. The 11's pushing the 24, the 74's pushing the 11, the 11's getting pushed by, I believe that was the 46 behind him. So it was about as big a stack up as you could ask for.
I mean, even doing a ride along there, it still didn't make sense. Like, what happened there? As we'll ride on board with Tyler Dangler. Big thing for Tyler here is I believe he gets run over by the blue teal machine. That's Eric Stamp. It looks like running a scheme that's not completely done. It needs a little bit more time in the shop, but the teal machine going to get right on the back bumper of Dangler, who's taking it easy. An easy struggle, backs off, and then gets ran over by the teal machine, who then goes up and presses over, then comes back down, and then everyone else that we saw further on back scattering into the grass. There's the contact for Danny Cochran in the 2, and everyone else kind of just circling around. What a bizarre start to tonight's race.
Very bizarre. And I went back and actually rode on board myself just to get the listen of the 24 of Fonseca. And I think I can pretty much confirm to us out there that couldn't get the shift from second to third. It just seemed like he got to the 8,000 range, right where you're about to shift part of the zone, and the tack kind of stayed there for a few seconds before he got completely spun around. So tough break, I think, just couldn't get that car or truck, so to say, to get into gear. But that was, like you said, very bizarre events, and I'm sure all these drivers have all scratching their heads saying, what just happened out there?
Well, the lights clicked on and everything goes awry, as luckily no one was given a required damage flag after that incident. Everyone was able to go in, get some slight repairs done, and we'll be back out on track. 29 drivers started this race. 29 will be at this restart. Up front, going to be Ethan Smith and Justin Sipes, your top two, but everyone else behind them a little bit more shuffled up. For you Joshua Stovall fans, up to 6th place is the 42 machine. It'll be the third truck on the outside in the brown UPS. So everyone else seeing Joshua Kanata, Christopher Norris, they're now into the mix. Also seeing Talmadge, a lot of drivers that are in that must-win window, ready for a chance here on this restart as we go green here very shortly. Pace car goes into pit road. We'll wait for the drivers to get that green flag showing. Your Moarcast 210 is back underway. A much cleaner start for the field up front as Joshua Kanata, huge push to the 00 of Ethan Smith. They are saying, let's go up front as the 16 stays right behind and now ducks to the outside.
Well, we make it a turn 1 this time. Will we make it a 3 will be the question. A little bit of a loose condition for the 80 of Sipes there. The white 80 truck on the bottom side, but it's Kanata, the 16, trying to use the power down the back straightaway to immediately jump to the lead. As you see farther back, the likes of Fonseca in that red truck, the driver who wrecked it again, trying to make moves farther back in the background, but the lead goes to Kanata.
Kanata looks comfortable. He looks confident. He wants to lead a lap, and he'll move up, do a little bit of aero blocking on the 80 machine. And the 16 will be able to lead a lap. That's a good bonus point for himself. And it's got to be some great confidence as a move for 3rd place. Looked like we were seeing the 38. Christopher Norris trying to set up a pass on Ethan Smith as he'll duck it down low. But this is the joy of such a wide track. All the different lanes being utilized through 1 and 2.
Every single lane, like you said, being utilized, and that is for sure one of the best things about this giant 2-mile old racing surface of the track. It allows these drivers to make moves all over the place, and they're going to be spread out here looking for any type of clean air that can get on the nose of these trucks to make moves.
And a lot of drivers I know entering tonight excited on the fact that we got away from the road course. That number 42 UPS machine. Got to talk to Josh a little bit before this broadcast started and got to hear from him, and he's just happy to get away from the road course. A little irritated there's another one in the middle of the playoffs, but recognizes a win would be such a game changer for his playoff push. Because of how far back he is in points, a win is almost a must in his window. And here tonight, running so far up, this is a good picture to see for this 42 machine for a chance to go for that win this evening.
That it is, yeah. This 42 is got one of his best opportunities, I'd say, here tonight for sure. This track here really opens up the doors for a lot of people to have opportunities, and he's been quick at this style of racetrack, in my opinion, all season long. So I think Stovall's going to have quite the showing here as he's battling the likes of the 61 and Derek Talmadge as they head off into 1 and 2 here. As it's side by side, really, for the first 3 rows, is Justin Sipes up front, trying to take the lead from Joshua Kanaan, and I think he'll get it done.
Sipes on the outside clears for the lead, and you can see this shot on the back stretch. Further on back, a lot of drivers making moves, and the majority of them are drivers that are known for being up front. Shocking to say, outside of the top 15, Vincent Sora, Nick Crawford, Presley Sora, Ollie Fonseca, Danny Cochran. I mean, those are names that are traditionally inside of our top 6 week in and week out, and they're all the way back in 18th, 19th, and 20th position.
I mean, I knew it was going to be a tough night for these guys, especially Crawford after that incident, of course, to start off. But Vincent Sora had the slowest qualifying time of any driver out there, and I'm sure he was not happy with that moment. So I'm sure he's going to be willing to make big moves to get up there, because once you get in the race, the draft becomes such a big factor that qualifying time isn't going to really plague you too much. But you got to be able to methodically work your way forward. He almost got caught up in that first wreck on that restart. Let's see how he can continue to jump his way up here, as he's going to have the help with the 74 here working their way around.
You can also see bump drafting action going on as that front bumper was being utilized by Nick Crawford, trying to get a push to help out the 15 machine to get by the 4 of Justin Ford to Justin Ford. Looking back at Michigan, one of his better runs of the season for the Moarcast machine. No surprise that here tonight, having one of his better runs. I know it's early, just the first 10 laps, but these laps tick away pretty quickly as we only have 105, and we're already halfway through this stage for these drivers. As you look at other drivers that are trying to make their march forward, Ollie Fonseca, the 2 machine, and Danny Cochran caught up in that lap 1 issue. They're slowly trying to make their way forward on the outside group. But Zach, I gotta say, this is giving me flashbacks to a few years back, an old series we used to call of the NISCC Cup Series, when it was the Gen 6 car. Everyone in line, and there's not a lot of passing going on.
It is actually pretty reminiscent of that. I tell you, that actually is a pretty good reminder of that style of racing. And this is what you'll see, is this kind of conveyor belt style racing, where you're going to have drivers make big moves to the inside of the driver ahead of them if they get a run. But if they don't get that move done and they get stuck on the bottom around these straightaways, you will just get flat out ran around by the top side, just due to everybody getting in line like this. This draft, so powerful. I mean, it's worth at least 5, 6, 7 mile an hour. If you're, a truck or 2 lower and not in that draft, you are just going to be going backwards, losing multiple positions. So you got to get the passing done quickly. And that's what kind of causes this single file line, almost everybody just trying to defend their outer side of their race car, just trying to make sure nobody jumps to that quarter panel.
And this even shows even more of what we were talking about before qualifying, on the fact of how important track position is. Some of these drivers up front have only gained 2, 3 positions. Some drivers have lost big numbers because they got knocked out of the draft. I mean, one of those being Ethan Smith. He's lost over 7 positions. John Forbes has lost over now 5 positions for the 11 machine. Now, he was caught up in that lap 1 incident, but Ethan Smith, probably the biggest control driver of being up front, staying low, and losing a lot of time now, but hoping to gain a lot of this later on, just in case the tires really start to fall apart later in this race and then this run.
It's possible. We haven't, it's been a while since we've been to this track. It's been at least a few months. We've had an update since then. we'll have to see, do the tires have a factor here in this race? You know, I've done a race here before, not probably about a year or two ago, and it was very, very tough as the tires started to wear out to make passes then even. So we'll see if the passing improves, but it seems like if you're not passing or getting the pass done completely on the entry of the corner, you're going to have to be passing on the outside because the bottom is just going to be a tough way to go to see Cedric Hunter in that 13 trying to work that bottom groove, but just not in that drafting lane. Is it stacking up with Trenton jumping them, kind of wiggling?
A big wiggle and a lot of fear in the eyes of Joshua Stoll and a few others because Trenton Jump, we saw during qualifying, was blinking a lot, was not able to really stay stable on his internet connection, and he's blinked a couple of times on this racetrack, and it spooked some drivers to back out. I think everyone's goal, get by this 46 as quick as possible, and right now it is working for Jared Talmadge, Cedric Hunter. They are just throwing their machines to the inside and taking all the advantage of everyone checking up on the outside groove.
That actually happens a ton. This is one thing that can help you by being able to run that bottom groove and just taking the chance down there is, yeah, you won't get the draft. Yeah, you won't get that giant boost of speed down the straightaway and the push from behind. But if everybody stacks up, everybody starts to check up, it really allows you to make time and have free lanes on the bottom. So great job by Cedric Hunter. I mean, he's already worked his way up into the top 5, now 3 wide up here with Trenton Jump and Christopher Norris as you're looking at the group behind this right here. It is really stacking up for this group.
It's starting to stack up. It's starting to get a little bit more interesting. And you saw the major dive move by the 11 and John Forbes. Ran a different scheme here this evening in the black, as well as seeing a couple of other drivers trying to make their way forward. I mean, some of these big moves, we know John Forbes, he's notoriously been known, especially in the last season or two, of just being the one driver, if he sees an opportunity to get underneath you, he will take that chance. And most of the time, that truck will stick down there to make the pass be made. And seeing these drivers 3 wide, I got to give kudos to the drivers, a lot of talking over the radio. Hey, we're 3 wide, hey, we're 4 wide, trying to make sure everyone knows the scenario they're in, because lack of awareness was the big issue at Michigan. That's the big change we're seeing here at Auto Club, is the drivers being a lot more vocal over the radio to make sure they're okay. But the one driver that's been the most vocal about where they are, Ethan Smith, into the outside wall, and he's now outside of the top 20.
Oh no, man, that is terrible. Our pole setter dropping back quickly. And Smith, like you said, outside the top 20, he might even go outside the top 25 here, possibly. He'll actually drop back to, I believe, that 24th position if Free can get past him here. So Ethan Smith, Knight, starting off well by qualifying on pole. All that track position he has gone up.
On and out the wall. So these drivers again still getting very aggressive on the side drafting. I'm starting to notice here a lot of drivers willing to get close to one another. Zach, side drafting looks to be the next big factor that we have to talk about here tonight.
It really does seem to be that way, because if you're going to go to the bottom of somebody, you better be side drafting them down the straightaway, because if not, they're again just driving past you on that outer groove. So that is really your only defensive mechanism, is to pull alongside, put your front fender to their rear quarter panel, and put the air on the spoil of the race car, adding that drag. So definitely what these drivers are technically doing here is John Ford's big run at 11 to the back bumper here. And you can see, as you get a good look at the engine, when the bumpers hit collisions, you kind of get that extra little look at the camera.
The camera's a little bit stuck further out from where the bumper is, so sometimes you get that fun look-ins on what iRacing has done for the engines, as seeing the field up front, all still staying pretty single filed out. A lot of side-by-side racing is around that battle between Samuel Garcia and John Forbes for 7th place. And oh no, Christopher Norris, contact with Stovall into the outside wall, goes the 38 machine. And these drivers know it's go time. If a caution comes out, that will be the stage. And stage points now crucial at this moment as the drivers cross the line. I believe we are now on the white flag of this stage. We are. So the top 10 drivers gonna get stage bonus points. And right now, it's the battle between the 9 and the 42, but trouble further on back as it looks to be Christopher Norris once again caught up in trouble.
Oh no, that's gonna be contact between Ethan Smith, Danny Cochran, and Christopher Norris. As that moment with Stovall there to contact down there in 3 and 4 puts them back in this moment, and just like that, just 3 drivers coming together. And I think you're going to get to see here, I think this might even be a little bit of neck code. You see Cochran He's got the run on the 38. He goes down a little bit of net code, of course, there before that initial contact happens. And that kind of just shoves the two directly into the 38. So that was a little bit awkward.
I'm really looking at it. Because the two is looking for a hold. Yeah, it's just squeezing up down into looking like Danny Cochran. Trying to get down past Christopher Norris. You're going to see here, he's going to duck down low. And then contact there with the 00 pushes him back up into Christopher Norris. And gets the 38 sideways enough with oncoming traffic to bring out this caution here. And that will be the stage with Joshua Kanata being your stage winner and grabbing his second stage win of the season. 16 places himself perfectly where he needs to be to grab even more big points because he's 16th in points coming into tonight. And with the fact of Mark Whitley not being here, it has opened up a chance to fight to punch your way into the playoffs.
That really has. It has opened up that door, Sam, and we'll see how these drivers can kick it open, so to say. So let's see what Kanata can do here on the pit stop. I'm not trying to jinx anything. I did pick Kanata, of course, before this race, but I just had that weird feeling coming in tonight with the 16. And he's had times here in the past where back at Auto Club, I can remember very specifically a race where him and Cedric Hunter were doing battle for the win late in those races, and a caution come out and kind of messed up the 16's night. So this 16 has speed here at this track, and Sipes, a little too much speed there getting into the box and losing the rear end. So he's going to lose a ton of spots here with having to back up. But yeah, Kanata looking very strong in this first stage.
And just like that, Joshua Kanata trying to exit out of pit road, continue to be the leader. And he will do so as behind him is going to be Jared Solomon, Sean Force, Trent Jump, Thomas Green, Cedric Hunter, Nick Crawford, Samuel Garcia, Vincent Sora, Justin Campbell going to be your top 10. What a run for themselves. So we'll see if we can queue up this 16 machine because I know that he's wanted us to bring him up for his stage win. Finally gets to be brought up for this run, and what a run he had. Qualifying up inside of our top 5 in 4th place and comes away with the stage win. Joshua Kanata, it's Sam and Zach up in the booth. You got us? We'll give it one more go around. Joshua Kanata in the 16. It's Sam and Zach. Do you have us? Looks like he might be muted or might just have us completely queued out.
I got you. Now.
We got him now. Well, Josh, stage winner, how are you feeling after those first 20 laps in the chaos on lap 1 to being up front and getting those 10 extra bonus points?
Pretty good so far. Still got a long way to go trying to close the gap to the top 12 for the playoffs, but hopefully we can keep this momentum going and try to stay out front for much of this thing as I can.
That's kind of where I was going to go next with this, Kanata, is how important is it to stay out front? Because we've seen farther back in the group, it looks wild back there. The lead looks a little bit more calm.
Yeah, the clean air is definitely everything here. Got a couple of the other guys in the chat that were back in traffic, and they were having a time. But yeah, just stay out of trouble and for the best for the end.
Certainly sounds like you got a plan. Well, Josh, we'll let you focus up, get ready for this launch, but congratulations on the stage win, and hopefully we'll be talking to you at the end of the night.
Thank you, guys.
As that 16 machine gets focused back up, I mean, Zach, it's got to feel good to get a stage win, especially with the fact of a lot of your competition is still stuck further behind you, and it looks like you're going to be around drivers you've been around for most of the stage.
That's very, very true. Yeah, this is looking good for Kanata. It's definitely played out very, very well. To get that stage win first off, get those 10 bonus points. That's huge for him, getting those points to get towards that 12th place position. But if he can go out and get a win, that'll make the worries a lot less.
Well, the goal was to have a stage go green, so they wouldn't have to throw a stage yellow. That's not the case. Yellow flag did come out on the end of lap 20 due to the contact between Danny Cochran, Ethan Smith, and Christopher Norris. It's got to set us up now for the rest of this race. No more stage racing. It's all about the win. Plenty of strategy we know is going to be thrown out with plenty of different pit stops. We'll see how we can stay green as Joshua Kanata takes us back to this race running as your Moarcast 210 is back underway. The outside lane gets the better run as they roar down into turn number 1.
Great start here for most of the field, but It's going to be fighting for that second row on back. Jared Talmadge trying to see if he can get up alongside Trent Jump, but it's Cedric Hunter who's going to take advantage in that 13. Been one of the biggest movers all night. He's really closing the gap on these front leaders.
This driver that started in the middle of this pass, Cedric Hunter has been moving the best so far, up 11 positions from where he started this race. Another driver that's moved up very well, Vincent Sora, who started back at 26th position. He's up 17 spots, just getting inside of our top 10. But the 13 machine looks to be the one that's most feared. Also, Trent Jump has looked strong, but you can see everyone from third on back slicing and dicing where they can find the perfect space that'll slot themselves and move forward.
It is, like you said, slicing and dicing. You're looking for any little gap, any little bit of draft you can get from a truck ahead to get the run. And there's a big incident farther back.
Sliding sideways, but not bringing out a yellow. Dakota Moniz went for a ride for the 5. Somehow we stay green, but Dakota Moniz's night could have been over once again. Caught up in the lap 1 issue, then goes for a slide here. What a slide, though, for himself, as Dakota and Sipes initially got into one another, and I'm shocked that it didn't bring out a yellow flag with how sideways he was. As the drivers get themselves rolling, we'll try to get the replay here. It's going to be coming out of turn number 2. It's going to be the 80 and the 5 getting into one another.
And Sipes with that mistake on pit road, having to back up multiple times, he's going to come down the track, and right here is going to be a little bit of net code contact, and the 5 is just going to get loose. He's going to get some contact from the 9, and somehow everybody there did an excellent job just not to cause a bigger incident. That could have been huge. Great job by Justin Forbes checking up the 4.
He didn't bring out a yellow in the back, but up front they might bring out a yellow. Cedric Hunter, Trent Jump, John Forbes, they were close to squeezing into one another off the exit of turn 4. They're battling for second place currently, and our front runners, they're giving us a show as we come back to live coverage, as the 13 has been trying to hold steady in third place, but John Forbes looks strong in the 11. He wants to do every move possible to get himself moving forward.
That he does. John Forbes always willing to send it, so to say, and usually makes it work. So his probability is usually on the side, but this time looks like he's going to try that bottom, just not have good enough run on Cedric Hunter. But you see there a little blink out from the 46 Trent Jump as he's just getting a run on Canada. This could cause some issues here with Cedric Hunter closing the gap.
Where will the 46 be? As Cedric Hunter goes down low, again, don't know where Trent Jump went. Jump doesn't even know where he's at. He's on the outside row. Luckily, no one is there for the 46, but John Forbes backs out of that scenario, and somehow there was no issue. But this has been the issue, the problem in these first 28 laps. This is not just the first time that has happened. This is the 3rd time. The first go around, Stovall almost saw his race go away. Jump's gotta be careful, but this is such a frustrating spot to be in, is when connection issues pop up and you've got no control on when it's gonna pop you out.
You're exactly right. No control as a driver, and there's no control of the other drivers around him. So it's just one of those unfortunate situations, and we'll see how they handle all that. But at least for the time being, it seems to be cleaned up, because that could have been very much a bad situation, as he's gonna have the run to the inside of the 11 of Forbes. He's gonna have the help of the 18 of Thomas Green. But look at Cedric Hunter, he wants to lead, no more, as he's trying to wait. He's gonna try to slide in front of 16, but Kanata does a good job, drives it into the middle, stays alongside the 13.
You want to get all the points you can, and right now, if you're Cedric Hunter, you know just getting any type of points could just help you out a little bit more comfortable throughout the rest of the season. As John Forbes is slotting that 3rd position for himself. Looking at some other battles, we're in the middle of the field, but it just looks like they're starting to clean up around that 15th position. But up front, everyone's starting to squeeze back in to this run, and we've been green for about 5 to 6 laps, and these tires feel a lot more solidified, a little bit more grip. The heat's there, and that's why John Forbes feels comfortable to make that diving move to the inside. It sticks for himself, but Jonathan Kanata keeps the foot in the throttle, and he'll keep the lead off 4.
This has been some epic racing so far between this group, and it's only going to continue for the rest of this race. And, you know, that caution timing too, I'm going to have to see how that shakes things up for strategy, because that timing of that yellow, definitely a little bit of an interesting case for that. So we'll have to see how exactly that can play out. We could have some fuel strategy play out with this, just with the timing of it.
certainly can be a strategy point they could throw out because these drivers, we were told, are anywhere from around 36 to 38 laps they can go. It just matters on how much maybe you're utilizing the draft, how much you're willing to clutch, and a lot of different ways to try to save fuel. As Ollie Fonseca in the 24 having a little bit of a slide off the exit of turn 4 as well, the back and up front continue to stay 2-3 wide. It's 24 with the big slide, and luckily doesn't go in the grass.
Definitely a big slide for a few of these guys out here. I mean, when you're racing this close to it is very tough to stay off your local competitors, so it's definitely wild to see. But his up front is 3 wide for the lead. Actually, Trenton Jump diving up the middle between John Forbes and Kanata, and now he's going to blink out, and this is where issues could come back. But here he comes back onto the surface in the middle of those two, and this gets a lot scarier. And like you said, it's happened multiple times now. We'll have to see if there is anything they can do about it.
I mean, because there is no live race control, they can't go out there and say, hey, 46, you're blinking too many times, you're at risk, make sure you give yourself plenty of space. You're racing up front for the lead, and the only clean space you can really find on the Auto Club is either be wrecked out, running for last, or be up front, pulling away from the field. If you're in the middle, you're around everyone, and it's a hazard. But John Forbes up front, finally getting that position where he feels the most comfortable. Joshua Kanata, though, he stays low, and this has been a troublesome spot. The only driver that I've seen move forward, or to say the only two, has been Forbes and Cedric Hunter that have really made the inside lane work. Everyone else has gone backwards if they go to the inside of the road.
It is very tough to make it work. You have to be so committed and hit it perfectly. So a lot of these drivers, like you said, just not getting it right, and when you don't get it right, the problems that come with it are huge. The Cedric Hunter now to the inside, Trenton Jump, big run for him coming off of 2. Now what does Forbes do? Does he go down, give the draft to keep him alongside? Let's say he's going to split the two to kind of give him an even little toe down the back straightaway, but Thomas Green in 18, he's going to push to 46. So the outside line again with the power up top.
Starting to see some new faces inside of our top 10. Talk about how Vincent Soro is making his climb. He's almost inside of our top 5. Also another driver that's making his climb is moving forward. Going to be the white, red, and black machine. Doesn't have a number to its side. It's the 99, Michael Miller, who you see there in the white and red. He's trying to make his way forward. It's kind of been tagging along with Vincent Sora and has now learned to follow Jared Talmadge to stay in this top 10 position. As up front, top 5, they are getting mixy at this moment.
That they are. This group is, I mean, it has been since we went back to green here for about 10 laps now. Everybody's been making moves, and they just know that track position is so valuable that when you have an opportunity, you got to take it, because those opportunities don't come around every single lap. So I think that's why you're seeing a lot of people take these chances. And look, Kanata, he's trying to get to the quarter panel on the 15, but 15 closes the door on him. He had to lift there as the flames come out of the tailpipe.
Had to lift, killing the momentum, but it's going to be on the inside. Jared Talmadge, I don't know if he'll lift. He'll keep that 61's throttle going, as everyone able to find enough space. And that's luckily because Auto Club is so wide. These drivers can make these big sweeping moves, and doing a much better job here tonight compared to Michigan. I think that Michigan race really did help kind of calm down a lot of these drivers entering this evening on, okay, we got to be respectful to each other. And here tonight, we're seeing drivers all over the place. And once again, Trent Jump is gone, and everyone's worried up front on where the 46 is.
And he's back in there for a moment. He was right around the 16 of Kanata in that grouping. So it looks like he's gone once again. So we'll see how that shakes out. His own now he pops back in around that outside groove around Kanata. And then these drivers, it's such a nerve-wracking feeling to have someone, popping in and out like that, you not knowing where they're at, because like you said, if you are in that way of that driver when he comes back, that could ruin your night. So definitely have got Trenton Jump risking it all out here with these connection issues.
Risking it all, and risking it around drivers that cannot afford a bad night. Like, they need to be perfect from here on out. Joshua Stovall. We also have Joshua Kanata, Michael Miller, Samuel Garcia. This is one of those things where they have to be careful around this driver who finally gets to the inside lane, but I don't know if that's where you really want him to be.
Yeah, we'll see if he drops back here, if that's what the case of what he's doing, but it kind of seems like holding paces now. He's actually going to be dropping back. So yeah, it's blinking bad. So a respectful move from him, because that was definitely a case where, in my opinion, it was only going to get worse up front with how the racing has been.
Trent Jump, one of the drivers that's already going to be up front, good in points, even with a bad day today. He should still be in a locked-in position. He'll pull down in pit road. Is the 46, and now he kind of gives a little bit of fresh air. Everyone can calm down for a quick moment, maybe for a lap, maybe for a half a lap, because everyone knows, you can see your competitors now, it's go time. Tack and go forward, because we are about 20 laps away from when we're expecting green flag pit stops if we stay green.
It's gonna get crazy when that happens too, to just see what type of strategies are pulled. Is now Thomas Green's gonna jump out of line here to go to the inside of Cedric Hunter, and this is a formidable group up here. You got the 11 of Forbes, Cedric Hunter, the 13 to 18 of Thomas Green, and the 15 of Vincent Sora level, Jarrett Talmadge in 5th place. This top 5 very strong right now, and I think these passes up front, you know, drivers are going to be going for it. But Cedric Hunter almost loses it there with putting him and Forbes side by side.
Side by side, having some slight issues. Got to be careful with one another. Also, shocking news into pit road. Eric Stamp, Nick Crawford, both going into pit road now.
That's an interesting timing for this strategy call for that grouping. I mean, you know, lap 105 here, they're pitting at lap 40. So that's going to leave them 65 laps left in this race. Now that's, you know, plenty to do on one stop of fuel here to the end. So you know, if that grouping is looking to do that, that tells me that saving fuel to make, you know, that run from 25 all the way to 105 with one stop is going to be very much a much tougher situation.
Also update on Trent Jump. He went into pit road, took 4 tires and fuel, and is back out on track. So he's kind of in that weird spot with his teammate of Eric Stamp, also with Nick Crawford, where they're going to go with the earlier stop. But Trent Jump, who we saw blinking, he's now going to try to make his march through this field, and based off of lap times, he should be close to almost a second faster than everyone else, or at least very close to it. So watch out for the 46, as he's going to be trying to make his march through this pack of drivers you see on screen.
Well, let's just hope that his connection doesn't start to go wonky when he gets up here towards this front end of this field, because like I said, yeah, he's so much faster. As Cedric Hunter making that pass just a lap ago on John Forbes. Now as Vincent Sora's teammate is going to look to the inside as John Forbes looks to the outside. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead here, but I think off the exit we'll see the 13 clear for the lead.
As it's going to be seen, Cedric Hunter, better run, able to take off and go as John Forbes had to back out of that run. Everyone else single files out. Vincent Sora once again trying to go with a chance to kind of split up, move that 11 out of the way as other drivers are making the charge forward. They were involved with earlier wrecks. I mean, you see Presley Sora in the 12, he's making his charge up front, but also in the mix. You can see that colored teal 46 machine, Trent Jump. He's on the inside and muscling his way forward.
But he is muscling his way forward. The times are definitely showing that his tires are worth it. I mean, we're looking at about a second and a half of fall off. When you look at a 2-mile racetrack, it is definitely a good little bit of time there to lose. As Jump easily all by himself, just pulling alongside these guys with the new tires. Is we still got the battle for the lead going on. We'll see if the leaders are able to acknowledge those new tires coming, or does he get right in the middle of it?
So slow down for a quick moment. I think through 1 and 2, if they can all get single file, the 46 is going to take off and go. Gets a good run, pushes Vincent Sora up, and we're going to be 3 wide up front with lead lap driver, 1 lap down driver, soon to be 2 lap down drivers, because Nick Crawford also is trying to follow in the tire tracks in the 46 machine. As Trenton Jump gets clear, and he can take off and go. But now the 74, he's going to be on the inside trying to make the run forward as he runs up onto Cedric Hunter's bumper, and he'll blitz his way past as well, getting by our leaders. And now those 2 drivers going to be back on the lead lap as their strategy call needs this race to stay green.
That they do. They definitely need this to stay green. I mean, now they've definitely got their lap back, so at least the caution was to come out. It would be too big of a bummer, but it is definitely still a situation where they want to see this race play fully out. And I'm thinking these other drivers, most likely when you're going to see some pit stops happen is around lap 50. I think you're going to see these drivers taking about another 5, maybe 52 to put it in a little bit of a better range, but we'll see how this all shapes out with everybody. Again, our top 18 all within 3 seconds of each other, so nobody's really broke away from each other in this top 50 or 18.
Yeah, I mean, everyone is still attached. And before we saw the Trenton Jump and everyone else start to go into pit road, it was our top 22 that were all still attached. So I'm looking at drivers, though, that advanced forward so far this race. from 9th to the lead, everyone has gone up 2 or more positions. Majority of those drivers, 10 or more spots have been gained throughout this race. Credit to everyone on the fact that they found different ways to move forward on a track that we thought it was going to be traditionally hard to make passes, but we're going to be 3 wide once again for the lead. It's always that third driver on the outside that backs out. But Vincent Sora with a little bit of a switchback move, trying to go forward for the 15 on the middle. Cedric Hunter slots behind, and these top 3 drivers might be the favorites to win here tonight unless one of these bold moves goes wrong.
These 3 have been putting on a show up front. I mean, they have been going back and forth. Thomas Green, I'm sure, wants to take a part in that also here with his teammate Jarrett Talmadge right behind him, or they're just laying in the wakes. And, you know, the one thing I brought up, too, is that this racing continues with the 11 just pushing the 15. You know, this group only being 3 seconds separating our top 17 drivers right now. If you come to pit road and have a slight mistake, that could be the difference between being in the lead like Vincent or out back in 17. So that these drivers got to be so careful when these pit stops do come, and that could be the separating factor for this next run to see if we do get smaller groupings of these trucks. So pit stops could be a deciding factor here very soon.
And also, I'm curious on your thoughts, Zach, of if you come into pit road, like we see at Talladega, Daytona, even at the current Atlanta, super speedway style tracks, how pitting with the group is so crucial. Do you feel like that's going to be something that's important as well as Joshua Kanata leaves pit road? He pits by himself, and we've seen a couple of drivers pit with 1 or 2, and Kanata by himself. I'm curious for the front runners if they're thinking about pitting as a group or not.
I think you got to. I think it is a huge benefit when you have multiple trucks grouped up together. The speeds are much higher as old man Forbes when they go block off the 15 right there. When the 15 was there, that could have been a wreck, but we stay clean for the moment. But yeah, the group in Canada, you know, Nick Crawford and jumping them, yeah, they're going to utilize their fresher tires to get the jump out, so to say, on them. But this group is going to be much faster when they're grouped together, drafting forward by themselves, not having to drive through slower trucks. So this is a benefit to pit with teammates, but also if you pit with too many people, it can become a detriment of how slow you can get in the pit road and off the pit road. So we'll see who can hit that perfect Goldilocks zone.
I'm curious if we can hop on board with the 16 of Joshua Kanata. Runs 26, but he's cutting through this field with fresh tires just to give the audience a feel of what it's like to have that clean, having a little bit of those fresher tires than everyone else, and just the massive speed difference as the 16 closes up on Stovall, and you can just see him even with that little bit of hesitation. He can take off and go. It's ahead of him. Trouble for a leader. Cedric Hunter and John Forbes get into one another, giving up more drivers side by side, 3 wide all around, and Joshua Kanata has to risk it all to get by this group that just had that chaotic moment.
Oh man, Forbes was the one that got into the wall, bounced off and into Cedric Hunter, and both of them saved it. That was excellent driving from both of them, but great vantage point we got here from Joshua Kanata's point of view. And it's almost, when you have these new tires, it looks like you have extra horsepower. That's what it looks like, because that speed you carry through the corners carries down the straightaways, and look at him, he's gone.
Just in a blink of an eye, you saw chaos, and now you see a little bit of freedom and clean air as the 16 tries to run down those that pitted 8 laps sooner than him of Stamp, Jump, and Nick Crawford, as Joshua Stovall and others mixed and mingled and mired in this spot where they're at. Again, this grouping has fallen down to 17. He made about 16 drivers caught up in this group, and Samuel Garcia having troubles for himself. You can see the 71 slowing down there. The outside row is getting very tight, and drivers are having to back out of the throttle.
I could definitely see that being a huge factor. Also, I think a little bit of contact there on the entry from, I believe it was the 50 of Samuel Garcia, the 80th side stacking up behind the 71, and that kind of got that grouping all loose together. So yeah, it is getting stacked up, so to say, on the outer group, because everybody wants that outside. They don't want to be stuck down on that bottom. As you can see, Shelley kind of covered off that 67 Yingling back here in this group.
When do you want to hit pit road? Because we're now in a zone. Drivers are going to try to push it out for another maybe 10 more laps, maybe 5 more laps. If you're trying to split this run in half, that's going to be the key thing for these drivers of what is going to be the pure sweet zone that you're looking for, as Vincent Sora, clean air, is half a second gap over Thomas Green, John Forbes, Cedric Hunter, and others. It's everyone from Cody Reed on back that's in this chaos zone, as seeing the likes of a little bit of a squeeze from Sykes Miller and as well going to be Shelley having a quick run on top of one another. Also, our pole sitter Ethan Smith caught in the mix there. As you're seeing our top 10 a little bit more comfortable than drivers outside of our top 10.
Definitely, for sure. Yeah, this grouping is they feeling comfortable, and then you got other ones that are definitely still just trying to, I think, hold on to this grouping here. So it's going to be interesting to see when they do pit. I felt like 52, 53 would have been the perfect timing for that stop to split this up, because then you could pit again around lap 78 to take you to the end of the race. So we'll see again when they decide to get this done, but I'd imagine a lot of them are worried about pitting a little too soon, because they feel like if they pit too soon, that caution comes out, they'll be in trouble.
Into pit road, going to be the 24 of Ali Fonseca. A couple of other drivers have already made their stops as well. Seeing drivers willing to work that outside groove. As those have already pitted, really making their charge through this pack quickly. And Justin Campbell probably taking the most unique way to get through this group, which was going on the outside instead of the inside, where we're seeing drivers. But this front pack, a lot more drivers over the radio saying they are pitting, so watch out. Pit road could be getting very busy here as lap cars are trying to mix their way through. Joshua Stovall going to be the first one going into pit road for this run. A couple of other drivers further on back, they said they might have been going into pit road. Instead, they'll wait for the next lap.
Never know, a little bit of a fake pit trying to get some people to come in. Sometimes you call it out and you just can't get the pit road. You make a mistake or something to get there. So let's see how that shapes up. But the 13 and the 11 of John Forbes continuing their battle as that contact. Great job from someone trying to rebound from that, because he was on that really had the huge slide after the contact. So he's now climbed his way back to third, and that 13 definitely looking very, very strong here tonight.
I'm loving what I've been seeing from Cedric Hunter, also the likes of Vincent Sora. They've looked very strong in this run as we progress forward. More drivers going to be entering pit road for themselves. Going to be Michael Miller, Ethan Smith as they make their pit stop and getting into pit road. A couple of other drivers, over the radio, not as pleased with the way they were going to pit road. Others pretty elated with the way that they made their stop. Michael Miller had to go with an evasive move in the middle of the track to drop down low, because there was no spacing with lap cars with much fresher tires stopping them from dropping lower as quick as they wanted.
Can always get a little tricky there with that situation, how things play out. But now Thomas Green to the outside of Vincent Sora here. See if he tries to look to go to the lead, as they got a lap truck there. I believe that's Jesse Thornock right behind them, who's a one lap down, trying to get his lap back in the 20 machine. So let's see what he can do here to navigate his way past the leaders, who now are going to be 3 wide with that 20, getting that lap back. But it's going to be an interesting call to see when these guys come down, because another thing that I'm thinking about here is, you had the likes of Crawford, jump, Kanata pit so early here, that when these drivers catch them on these newer tires, fresh tires, will they be evened out because of how big the gap is? Because another reasoning for that is Kanata and them aren't running as fast as what they could have been with the draft, so their tires are going to actually be more preserved due to the slower speeds they're running. So we'll see if they're able to hold on.
Talking about Kanata, he pitted 8 laps later than Nick Crawford and Trent Jump. He just caught up to Eric Stamp, who was that third driver that pitted with that group. If Josh Kanata took 8 laps just to get there, everyone else is over 10. Going to be 18 laps behind those that are already pitted. It might be a little bit too late for them if they are trying to stretch this tires and fuels out as long as they can.
That's kind of where I'm headed to, Sam, is these drivers, they're trying to stretch this far here. They're doing what they think is the right call. Here's you got some new tires coming through at Stovall, and it looks like Fonseca. They're looking to do the right call here, but they're actually kind of hurting themselves in the long run. We'll see again how this all shapes out, but this could hurt them if they stay out there too long to stretch the group completely.
And looking at drivers that already pitted and those that are trying to cut through this field, Joshua Stovall was just stalled out completely, because I think Thomas Green thought it was a lead lap driver trying to go for a pass on the leader, not realize it was a lap car, and kind of put a massive block on a much faster driver. Now Tyler Dangler stuck in this group trying to get through. And see Jared Talmadge in 5th place as more drivers trying to make their pit stalls, as we are still waiting for the top 13 to make a pit stop for themselves. But it's Joshua Kanata who's feeling the most comfortable at this moment of drivers that have already pitted.
definitely. I think he's got to be feeling definitely in a good spot as more drivers continue to head down pit road here. Looks like the likes of, I believe that's John Forbes. Yeah, the 11 of John Forbes. So we'll see what his decision and where he comes down the track. I think this will be kind of a telltale of how far they will be behind that grouping. Because like you said, it took Kanata a while to catch up to the likes of just Eric Stamp. So the gaps could be huge. We could have quite the race on our hands when it comes to strategy.
And these runs to catch up to those that already pitted, it's going to be fun to watch as well with how quick these tires are going to be. As John Forbes is leaving his pit stall, also behind him going to be Larry Yingling. Up front, though, it is a massive pit stop. Over 6 drivers, 7 enter pit road. The whole entire field into pit road, and yellow flag is out. And it looks to be trouble for one of our drivers that already pitted. I'm looking to see who it was, and it looks to be Justin Forbes, like you said, Zach, spinning out, leaving pit road for the 4.
Just an easy mistake to make here. Is we'll see the replay here as Forbes is leaving pit road. At this moment, he's going to jump out on this apron. Cold tires, folks. The tires are fresh. Yes, they're more grippy when they're fresh, but they are nice and cold too, and you don't have that perfect temperature balance and air pressure. And boom, right there, the rear end steps out, catches him off guard, he slides up the track, and then he tries to save it, but that second time around is what brings out the yellow finally.
And with this caution for everyone that just entered pit road, that was the most perfect timing of a yellow you could ask for. For other drivers, they're kicking themselves, as everyone that has already made a pit stop most likely are going to have to pit, except for those that just had their service done, as Mar Morales Jr., who's our current leader, going to park it as he's waiting for the pace car to finally catch up to him, and the rest of the field, as there they are. And it's time to start rolling for the 8 machine, as what a weird, odd race we've seen from lap 1 to the caution at the stage to now this one. It is really shooken up how this field's got to be thinking this race is going to go, because Zach, I mean, this is going to be very close to the cut line for some of these drivers. It could be a fuel mileage race from here on out.
It very well could, and worst timing of the yellow for some, best timing of the yellow for others. So how sometimes these races tend to shake out, to say the least. But yeah, this is definitely shaping up to be a interesting one to say, to say the least. So I'm interested to see who is going to be able to work their way back forward, because the likes of Joshua Kanai, who's had a great run tonight, he's going to be mired back around 15th position.
It changes things up, going to shake up how this rest of this race is going to go. And for us, we're going to take our first commercial break of the night. Want to say thank you to everyone that's joined with us this evening, as you are seeing the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series, race number 9, the Moarcast to San Diego Auto Club. It has been a weird one. The night's not over just yet. We'll be back with more Auto Club action right after this. And the big one strikes as we were under commercial break. As the exit at turn number 4, everyone explodes. And it looked to be maybe a little bit of net code as the field was getting rolling. Everyone trying to go in 3-4 wide, and it went wrong off the exit of turn 4. But we'll take a look at how this thing built up, because Zach, it was a lot of big moves from drivers that are known for putting their vehicles in tough spots. People are frustrated after some of the moves that were made. As you see, Ollie Fonseca goes from the top to the bottom. Big block from Vincent Sora, putting Ollie all the way down to the apron. And then has to work his way up, but then drama continues as they go through 3 and 4.
That it does. It's 4 wide action here as they head off into the corner. And you're going to have Vincent Sora there, who's going to be putting it right on the quarter panel of him. I mean, he can't go much higher because he's got the 61 Talmadge there. Then from there, the 24 going to start to lose that nose just a little bit, and looks like some contact already starting to be formed, and boom, right there catches the front of the 15, sends him nose first across, and then from there, others are just scattering through it.
It is just multiple drivers looking like Talladega from this past Sunday in NASCAR, with everyone scattered, those trying to make their way through. Some coming to a halt, others trying to drive on through, but multiple drivers with big damage. Well, the biggest goes to Joshua Freed in the 39, required damage for himself. But in a ride along of what it's like from Vincent Sora's point of view, as again, he was staying low all the way down, and I'm curious on this move on the backstretch. Seeing going down, not wanting to give Ollie that run. They kind of put him in a spot where they had to go for a while.
Yeah, he didn't want to allow him to do it. But Ollie pretty much forced him into that situation where he's like, well, I'm going all the way onto the apron. And, you know, hard racing there for sure, but it's just unfortunate with that contact being made that brings everybody together. So it's just a tough break, but as you can see, the 15 kind of goes spinning around, and he's not really going to be hurt too much from this other than track position. Same for him and his teammate Cedric Hunter, both kind of 360 and around through that, who both at one point were battling for a win.
And for you Stovall fans out there, he was in the thick of things and did not take any damage. He had about 6 drivers spin out in front of him, around him, and the 42 will continue to race on. Currently going to restart in 14th position. But it looks like Ethan Smith, our pole sitter, too much damage. He'll call it a night early here this evening, as actually looks like packet loss for himself. So might have gotten disconnected. Joshua Freed officially out of this race, as well as Justin Forbes. Up front, going to be Presley Sora, Thomas Green, as majority of the field, as we said, so many drivers caught up in that wreck come into pit road. Others coming to pit road because we are right on the cutoff line of where the fuel window can take us. This is going to be highly important on this run. For those that topped off on fuel, they're going to feel a little bit more confident. But for top 5, they risked it by staying out. We'll see if they've got enough fuel to take it to the end, or do they have a feeling that we might have another caution in front of us as we are into the restart zone. Your Moarcast 210 is back underway as Presley Sora gets the good launch. Green does not take off. Cody Reed is there, but Dakota Moniz, who was caught up in our first 2 incidents of the day, the 5 up front in our top 5, but trouble behind. It's Trent jumping others.
Oh man, everything's starting to pop off now here. The Auto Club is coming to a crescendo, I guess you could say. Is I think that was contact between the 71 of Isaac Shelley and the 46 of Fonseca, or 46 of Trenton Jump. Sorry about that. Is you'll see right here, they're restarting both in that 3rd row, and contact's going to happen here just as the 71 comes up. I think just coming to get a little bit of a side draft before the turn in, and just going to misjudge it and turn the 46.
Yeah, from a lot of different angles, it just looks like 71 just completely spun out. Trenton Jump, I don't think it was intentional. What a bizarre moment. That just continues to be the word of the night. There must be a full moon out there in the sim world, because this has been a weird one, as another caution coming out on a restart. You're not expecting to see here this evening, but Auto Club, talked about at the top of the broadcast, a racetrack that has known to bring out cautions. The least amount was last season, where there were only 5. Season 4, there were 7 cautions, and then the most coming at season 5, where we had 10 cautions come out during that race, where Trenton Jump, who's just involved with this wreck, actually found himself into victory lane. But here tonight, he's going to have a lot more work if he wants to do so. With this caution, though, does assist Ethan Smith, who's trying to get reconnected back into the race after being disconnected. Currently 2 laps down. Hoping to be minimum, most likely 3, potentially 4 laps down when he's back into the session. But Zach, a weird restart. But one of those things where we saw everyone trying to play nice with awareness levels. It looks like the antsiness of we got to go now starting to hit everyone at this moment.
It definitely is. It seems like that strikes at some points during these races, especially these style of races like this. So it is definitely a tough one to see. But what this does do is anybody who hits pit road now, you are for sure going to make it to the end of this race. You are plenty good. And this also the caution, in my opinion, the drivers who had just pitted that last time, they are for sure good, in my opinion, to make it to the end of this race. Now, the people I have concern for are the top 5 still. We'd have to have a few more cautions before they can make it, but I think if we do get a few more, we might see them pit just for tires anyway. So, going to be some interesting strategy calls here, but I think if you're Presley Sora, Cody Reed, Thomas Green, Dakota Moniz, or Isaac Shelley up front, you can't really risk coming down right now and giving up all that track position, because you never know. We could have a caution here in 10 laps, and that could be a perfect zone for them to come down a bit.
Yeah, I feel like the only reason you're coming down into pit road at this point is for tires. Fuel is now no longer the issue you're worrying about. It is all about who can have the best set of tires at the end of this race. You've already seen how important it is, even with the fact of Joshua Kanata and other drivers when we had that green flag run, how just a 7-lap difference was massive to be seen. 2 laps, 3 laps, I think it should be just as big if we get into a green flag run.
We'll have to see how this shakes out. I mean, the tires will come down to be a factor too here at some point, because how many tires have some of these guys taken? We've seen some guys have 5, 6 pit stops already. You got 4 sets of tires in pit road. I imagine a few of those pit stops have been for fuel only, but I'll have to see how many people are left with sets of tires once we get later into this event. But looks like they're going to get them restacked back up, double file. Presley Sora going to be the leader with Cody Reed in second, Thomas Green in third. And we'll see how this race shapes up. We've had long green flag runs, 2 really long ones, but right now we're getting those quick yellows that people are just getting a little bit antsy.
Well, if you're just joining us, well, welcome to Freaky Fast Broadcasting, giving you the coverage of the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series. This is Season 7, race number 9 of the schedule at Auto Club for the Moarcast 210. We've had a couple of cautions blossom up here recently. We had one good long run where we had a caution at the end of the pit cycle. Here tonight, though, all drivers should be good on fuel. Our top 5 still in a questionable state. If we go into a green flag run here to the end, everyone further on back, I think it's go time. They know we have to push forward. A couple of drivers with some big damage repairs. One driver of note to watch out for, Jesse Thornock. He's one of the freshest tires out on track, restarting in 8th place. Curious on what the 20 going to bring out here. Most of the field is just topped up on fuel. They're ready to see how the rest of this race will conclude here this evening. Presley Sora going to be your control vehicle on the inside. He's waiting to get into that restart zone as your Moarcast 210 is back underway for Presley Sora, Cody Reed, and the rest of the field. It's go time as they roar down into turn number 1.
Great start from Presley Sora down on that bottom side. It's going to be side by side, Reed and Green in that second row. Dakota Moniz is right there in tow in the 5. Having a spectacular run for him is now even Larry Yingling breaking his way up into the top 6.
Larry Yingling's probably the most quiet here tonight. Trouble behind, though. It's going to be Sipes drifting down to the inside wall for himself. Taking with him was Michael Miller. Will stay green as the 80's into the inside wall. The 99, he loses all track position, and he just took fresh tires. That's got to be hurting him on this restart as just an innocent victim of breaking loose in front, nowhere to go. But up front, Thomas Green going to be fighting for this lead position.
These guys fighting for every little thing they can. Is we're on John Forbes right here behind Cedric Hunters. He's going to be looking to make some moves as out front. Thomas Green is almost clear of Presley Sora, but Sora up front fighting for that lead, doing everything in his power as these drivers farther back. can just watch them all.
Sit back, relax for a moment. Others, it is go time as we're inking closer and closer to 30 laps to go. And that's going to give us a lot more of a clear picture of where these drivers are going to be in the best position if they're going to go for a win. Some may be going for just a decent finish here tonight. Update on Ethan Smith, who got disconnected 2 cautions ago. The 00 back out on track, but 3 laps down. Ollie Fonseca currently 1 lap down, but back out on track. As the rest of the field going to be 25th up to the lead position or on the lead lap currently. Cody Reed diving it down low. Cody Reed started 25th for the 25. He's now battling for second place on the inside groove.
Reed so strong here on the bottom, trying to make this work. Just not having the grip he needs though right now, but he's going to have the draft from Thomas Green up ahead. This should help him pull alongside Presley Sword just a little bit better, but as the 18 snakes back and forth, it kind of evenly disperses that draft. Is now this front group and breaking away a little bit is Yingling getting his way up into the mix. The 67 feeling a little froggy.
As Larry Yingling willing to get a little bit more antsy for himself on the inside, and every single time these passes are making in front of him, it's a little bit of that draft that pulls him along for a chance to dive bomb Shelly in front, as well as big congrats to Dakota Moniz on his recovery run to be where he's at. But you know, the night's not over, and Dakota is worried about making sure he keeps that nose clean with everyone around him. But the middle of the pack, getting a little bit more of drivers knowing they've got to make some big moves now. If you lose a chance to stay attached to this lead pack, you're in trouble. We're starting to see drivers knowing it's go time. Vincent Sora, one of those in the 15 on the inside, getting by the Barbie machine of Tyler Dangler. Also John Forbes, Joshua Stovall. Those 2 drivers are going to try to stay attached. Cedric Hunter also behind this group. And for Tyler Dangler, it's a victim that has to get pushed and set back as this group moves forward.
This group is definitely one to watch, I'd say. You got the likes of Sora, Forbes, Hunter, Kanata. All of them were contenders earlier in this event. You also got the likes of Stovall and Dingler there who are going to be right in the mix with them also. Also, if we stay green, Forbes, the best tires, best fuel of anybody out there. Him and Stovall both pitted 7 laps ago. So we'll see how that advantage works for them. But this is going to be quite the show if we can keep it green, because we are now 29 coming to 28 to go.
As John Forbes having his little bit of blinking issues. There's been about 4 or 5 drivers that have been having some type of blinking issue here this evening, as Forbes going to go to the slight outside, tracking the outside quarter panel to get behind 15 of Vincent Sora. Doesn't want to be following, wants to be the leader, is the 11, as Stovall willing to give a push and shove and go forward. Also for you Samuel Garcia fans out there, for the 50 machine, part of our Moarcast 5 drivers, a little bit of cash on the line for the 5 drivers that were brought out and part of the raffle to be part of this race. Well, the 50 machine is leading the Moarcast 5 as he gives a slight bump to Cedric Hunter that gets 13 out of shape for a quick moment. But if the 50 machine finishes ahead of Danny Cochran and Ethan Smith, gets a little bit of extra cash at the end of the night, which is always nice when leagues put out those types of rewards for drivers. A little bit of a race inside of the race that they have for themselves.
That really is going to be a huge deal for Samuel Garcia to get that victory over that group of drivers. I mean, Ethan Smith and Danny Cochran. Cochran, a past champion. Ethan Smith, a past multi-time winner. That'd be huge for Garcia to go off, because right now he is in that position with Cochran in 22nd. Ethan Smith 3 laps down back in 27th.
As Brayton Laster, haven't talked about the 30 a lot here this evening, but he went for a wild dive bomb move. Did not work with the slide job, losing touch, getting by the 50 machine. Now in trouble with the 00 of Ethan Smith. Again, 3 laps down for Smith. He needs a few more cautions and make sure he's not involved with them, get that lucky dog spot and get back onto the lead lap. But with the way this race is looking, everyone's pretty spaced out. A lot more spaced out, at least further on. Back up front though, they're in line. You got a sense that everyone up front, at least their top, I would say top 5, they're not willing to drive as hard as they need. They can back off just slightly because they need to save a little bit of fuel to make it to the end.
They're definitely going to need to save a little bit, Sam, that's for sure. I mean, right here, we're still, looking at 25 laps to go. They've went 19 already. So you have that 25. That's 44 laps in total they're going to need to go on a tank of fuel. Now we have had 2 cautions to help them. So it's going to make it marginal. I mean, we heard coming in tonight about 37 laps. So that's leaving them with about 7 laps short. But again, some caution laps sprinkled in there. It could get a little bit close.
A little bit of caution, flags, a little bit of fuel saving. I mean, we've seen in other leagues, you can save quite a bit of fuel if you're clutching immediately, and it's been your mission from the start to save fuel. You can go pretty far, even with this track being 2 miles in distance. But you're seeing most of the field. This is the calmest it's been throughout this whole entire race. Everyone's single file with just a handful of drivers willing to poke their nose to the inside, to the outside. It is stay in line in this train and make it to the end. I'm curious though, when will this switch kind of flip of we have to make passes? Because I got a feeling everyone from 15th on back, I'm shocked that they're not being more aggressive right now.
I kind of am too. Yeah, you would think those drivers would be more willing to kind of push the pace, so to say, and get up there and try to maybe make these drivers who are having to save fuel here, make them push a little harder. So we'll see. Maybe they don't want to give them the draft. There's a lot of things that factor into sometimes how you play it out. But right now, I think a lot of drivers are just willing to ride it out and see how this is going to play because they want this thing to stay green and clean to the end. I tell you, one driver is actually starting to make some moves. Jesse Thornick up to 6th. He's on the back bumper. Isaac Shelley, this 20 is looking racy.
And the big reason why, some of the freshest tires of anyone in our top 8 currently, and it's the 20 machine who's got that fresh rubber. But we saw it even during green flag conditions. When he had a major advantage on tires, Jesse Thornick was not willing to really utilize these tires to the fullest potential. He was kind of hesitant to get underneath the drivers ahead of him. Curious if right now he's still feeling that hesitancy because he is running for one of his best finishes that he's ever had in the ISRC.
You got to think, a little bit of hesitancy there. And it can make you a little nervous sometimes because you don't want to get up here and cause no issues. But if you're Thornick, you got the speed, you got the grip, you got to go for it right now. As he's kind of caught out in nose man land. He's Nick Crawford is unsure if he wants to try to push him. But right now, we're seeing some other drivers like Joshua Kanata start to work their way back into position.
And you need to be moving forward because some of these other drivers that have just cut up to the 20, they will not be playing patient. They will not just give these positions away. You need to utilize your tires now with the likes of Joshua Kanata, who's almost in a must-win scenario. We'll see what the points look like after tonight with Mark Whitley missing a race, but really looks like the 60 machine. He knows a win is so crucial if he's going to make it to the playoffs. You have John Forbes who's willing to make big moves if it's needed. Eric Stamp in that teal machine. He's in a fight to get a win. He hasn't won in a very long time for the 53. There's a couple of drivers who might be seeing people that are on the charge to go forward that you cannot allow to get by you.
That's for sure. That's why I think everybody's fighting so hard right now and stacking up this group as Forbes just doing everything in his power to make moves, as now he's going to be on the outside. Kanata's going to look to the inside 3 wide with Thornick in the middle, but Forbes in the 11, the one making big moves out here with the freshest of any tire out here of anybody. He's going to be looking to drive his way to the lead.
It is take off and go for some others. It's a tight squeeze and hold on tight as it's Larry Yingling who's really been just caught up on the outside. Has to be careful as the teal machine's giving some bumpers to one another on the true teal with no decals on it. That's going to be Eric Stamp in the 53 on our ticker. It's the 20th Thornock just not using those tires as well as you thought he would. He'll have to just settle and watch the field slowly drift by him as these tires start to equal out every lap that passes. But ahead of him, I'm looking at John Forbes. That 11 looks like he is on the move and pulling along this group and finally has gotten by some of those drivers that he's been around that have been working to get through this pack. I think John Forbes could be the factor here if this race stays green to really be the one that could challenge our top 3 right now.
I tell you, he's the one I have circled because him and Stovall are working their way quickly. Stovall, though, stalled out at about 12th. But Forbes continued his march. He's now driven on the 6th, now looking for 5th and 4th off the exit of 2. This 11 is got to be the biggest threat circle for anybody here in this field. It's going to be interesting to see how these drivers are going to be able to try to hold back this driver because we know how good Forbes is when he's on the attack. That is his best style.
It really is his best style, and right now it's going to be Isaac Shelley who's the driver that really needs to continue to block and hold back this 11, and Dakota Moniz needs to be that inside box to keep him boxed in, but not able to do so, and now the 11's free to go high, low, anywhere he wants to go, as well as seeing his teammate Nick Crawford, Snowy Desert Racing. They are on the move, and you know that's a dangerous phrase to say, especially on the fact that they're the two drivers that are completely feeling confident and good that they can make it to the end. Our top three, they're still not confident that they can make it to the end if we stay green. We know that they've been trying to save fuel, but have they saved enough, as John Forbes is now making the pass for fourth place and about to make the pass for third.
I tell you what, the more this race goes on, the tougher it will be for them to save fuel too, because you know, a lot of times we talk about fuel saving, it is on the easier side here. We've seen some pretty considerable amounts of fuel saving, but I'll say it is tough to do in these trucks because these guys are so quickly back to the gas into the center and the middle of the corners that it is very, very tough to lift and coast and let the trucks really coast through the corner to save the fuel. So this is one of those tougher tracks to do it. We'll see who can do it the best up front, but some of these drivers who have no worries about fuel, I think, are going to have some easy passes on their hands.
So that jolting move from 16, Dakota Moniz gets on the outside wall. Kanata had to react, same for Thorak. They get by, and in trouble into the outside wall. It's going to be Eric Stamp forcing everyone else around that other teal machine to cycle around him. That's where we find Stovall, and also going to be watching Garcia, Ethan Smith, trying to get by Eric Stamp. That little
very close, folks. I'll tell you, this is nerve-wracking, especially for that front group up front. They don't know if they're going to make it on fuel. They hope, if anything, if the fuel doesn't look good in their situation, they got to be hoping for a yellow here quickly, because that yellow flag doesn't come and you got to hit pit road. That is going to ruin the nights for some of the grouping up front. But a lot of this group here that we're looking at has the fuel, has the tires. They're just trying to find their way around.
And now John Forbes has gotten by Cody Reed, setting up to try to get by Presley Sora. The 11 is just attacking every little angle he can. And right now it's the outside lane that's working for the 11. I'm kind of shocked on the fact that we're not seeing more drivers try to stop John Forbes from going to that outside row. And it's for the first time we're seeing it, but sadly it's from our leader of Thomas Green. We'll see if the 18 can hold back the 11, but I don't think he can, as John Forbes goes for the slide job move to the insides of the 11. He slides up in front of the 18, and watch out and go, because I don't know if anyone's gonna catch him. John Forbes to the point.
Now it's interesting to see if he can pull away. That's going to be the huge thing. It's tough to do with this draft model, but we'll see if he can do it with the fresher tires. But I think the reason why a lot of people aren't defending that outside group for him is because the grouping that he was passing, they all got to run the bottom, I think, because they're trying to make the shortest distance around this racetrack to save the fuel. You run that top, you're taking extra mileage around each and every lap with you, and that's going to equate to more fuel mileage. So we'll see if that is the possible case scenario. But right now, Forbes trying to run away from this grouping and try to go get another victory.
And for John Forbes, his other driver of note to watch out for is Nick Crawford. And Crawford in the 74 machine runs on the inside row, trying to get by his teammate Cody Reed. Cody Reed doesn't get a good run, able to back off and gives a position for the 74. And for Nick Crawford, it might be two positions in one lap. Very good motion, and especially on the fact that we're seeing drivers now trying to go for the push. Jesse Thornock, who we thought was out of this race, he's utilizing his tires now, but he's stuck 3 wide with Cody Reed. And Shelley into the outside wall. That backs off Cody Reed. Now we're going to be seeing a more 3 wide, but Jesse Thornock is the driver on the move right now.
Thornock up to 4th. What a job by him. He's now past Nick Crawford. It looks like Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter, both of those two that were very strong in that later portion of the run, finding their way, as it seems like as the tires begin to fall off, the grouping, some of this grouping continues to show out.
It is going to be one of those things of can we keep it together in this race, because we have drivers fading backwards, those trying to push forward, and can we have enough spacing around one another to make it to the end of this race? Vincent Sora and Thornock, though, make contact off the exit of the corner. A little bit of trouble for Isaac Shelley as Dakota Moniz has to make evasive moves to get around him, and Shelley is struggling as the 71 continues to fade back, but it's the 20 and the 15. They're now the next contenders. If they're gonna catch John Forbes, they need to settle this squabble quickly.
Here they go, 15 around him now. Cedric Hunter trying to find his way into a hole, but he's going to get a little bump from Crawford, but somehow gathers it back up to find his way back to 6 as Thornock solidifies himself for 5th. But I think right now, if you're John Forbes, you got to have your mindset on that 15, that 13, and that 20. Those have been the two that have been moving forward. And right now, it's going to be Vincent Sora, the first one to attack with the trucks on older and much less fuel.
Looking at that last lap, it was 3/10 difference between Vincent Sora and John Forbes. That is the difference of having the track helping you on the straightaways compared to John Forbes that's just pulling along this pack. But you got to say thank you to the fact that Presley Sora, Thomas Green, they might not have had the speed to stop John Forbes, but luckily they have the trap that can keep them in contention and keep everyone else a chance to run down this 11 machine. Vincent Sora able to make the pass by. 10 going to be soon to 9 laps to go, and this race ain't over yet. It is still wide open on who's got a chance to win this thing, because Sora's now up to 2nd. He's got a little bit over half a second to run down Forbes, but he's got slightly clean air, and he's got plenty of draft to pull him and catch that 11.
This is going to be huge for Sora. He has to put together a couple good laps to get right close to that 11. He can't let the 11 keep it at about a 6/10 of a second gap. He's got to continue to close that mark, and we'll see if he can do that. But right now, the battling continues on as Cedric Hunter losing out as the 74 Crawford, the 18 of Thomas Green, all working the outside groove, trying to hold back the 13. But the 13 trying to pull the slider, just couldn't get it done. Is now Presley Sora comes to pit road. Those drivers up front most likely going to have to pit now, Sam, with the fuel looming.
And Thomas Green is stuck on the outside, but 18 has nowhere to pit at this current moment. He needs to find a way to get to the inside and be able to be vocal enough for the field to react to get by him. This is such an important pass for Cedric Hunter. He needs to get by the 18 as well for Nick Crawford, Cody Reed. Reed and Thomas Green both in situations where they might have to pit here very quickly. But as the rest of the field, where do you slot yourself to make this pass and be solidified in a good position? Jesse Thornock, though, I mean, this 20 we thought was throwing this race away with how far he was giving up, but right now he's in a perfect position for a top 3 finish.
What a story that would be, Sam. That is a great job from Jesse to be in position, with outright speed to be doing this. So great job by Jesse Thornock, having the best race of his career here at ISRC, really, and right now showing out with this grouping. But it's going to be interesting to see Thomas Green, Cody Reed, how far can they stretch it? They pitted 5 laps before the grouping ahead of them. So I would imagine around 4-3 to go will be the last time you can see these guys make some pit stops.
Try to go for your best finishes if you can, and all these drivers know you need to slot yourself in the best position possible. Still, Thomas Green as well as Cody Reed have not indicated that they're thinking about going into pit road anytime soon. They continue to stay out on track. Now going to be 6 laps to go for the field as John Forbes, comfortable, confident, but that gap that he had to Vincent Sora has been cut in half. It was down to 0.3 seconds at the line. And for Vincent Sora, Thornock, as well as Cedric Hunter, you got to work as a group to run down this 11. But finding the momentum and speed to make this pass is also going to be a difficult thing, because catching a driver is one thing, making the pass is a completely other.
You're exactly right about that, Sam. And I think the big thing that we're going to see here be prevalent is that Vince Sora is going to need some help. That he's kind of stalled out once he's gotten here to about 3 to 4 tenths, but Thornock, Cedric Hunter worked quicker the time before. It looks like that time with Presley Sora kind of coming into the action here with these fresher tires, it's been different. But man, Thornock really sends it into the corner to get right alongside with Sora just better off the corners.
He had to. He was being shoved on that front stretch by Presley. That 20 had to make a move to sort of slow down the momentum, and that was diving down low. But that big shove, the big momentum, forcing the speed, and as well with John Forbes moving high, it allowed Vincent Sora, Thornock to get a little bit closer this run. Now coming up to 4 laps to go when they cross the line. It's still doable for a top 4, but really right now for John Forbes, it's dirty air blocking, the new tactic that's really come in with the new truck setups and the ways that they've been updated. It is all about aero blocking. That 11's mirror is being utilized, I'd say, Zach, a lot more than that windshield.
That it is, and behind him, Cedric Hunter, big slider on Jesse Thornock. That's going to lead them two side by side down the back straightaway. but that also lost them a ton of time there to the two ahead of them. But can Cedric Hunter finally clear, and he will get it done in that third position over to Cedric Hunter, Thornick back and forth. But Sora is starting to close the gap just a little bit.
Inch by inch, little bit by little bit. More contact going to happen behind them, though. It looked to be the 0-0 of Ethan Smith getting into the outside wall. But up front, it's still about 0.3 at the line. It's just not big enough dings that we're seeing by this 15. Yes, he's closing in the gap, but we only have 3 laps to go. Your opportunities are fading quickly here at Auto Club.
That they are. You're going to run out of time here if you ain't quick. Also, got to note, Cody Reed, I believe, he's still out there. Yes, Cody Reed, and I believe the 18th Thomas Green. No, Thomas Green has hit pit road, hasn't he?
He's back in 12th place. He is fading and trying to find a spot, I think, to save the field to make it to the end. But his race is completely over. Cody Reed, though, very low, very slow. Pit road calls for him. I'm surprised Thomas Green is still out on track. And it looks like for Green, he's going to stay out. He's made his bed. He's going to lay in it to the end of this race. But the battle for the lead is on. It's less than 2 tenths. Vincent Sora is there, and Cedric Hunter is looming for another chance to make another last lap miracle happen. 2 laps to go, and Sora needs just a couple of more car lengths, and he's there to battle the 11.
Oh, it's on, man. He is almost there. The thing is, if they two start getting side by side, that opens up the door for Cedric Hunter. What are we going to have here? We're going to have 2 miles for these two to brawl, but it was a great turn 3 and 4 for John Forbes.
John Forbes going to be able to make it 2 tenths. The last 2 laps, it was enough for Vincent Sora to get 1 tenth on the 11, but he's close enough for a dive bomb move if necessary. Your white flag is in the air tonight for the ISRC Lara Productions Truck Series. Who's going to win the Moarcast 210? Because John Forbes looks good out of 2.
Out of 2, it's a big run from Vincent Sora. The draft involved now. It's almost under a tenth. Heading down the back straightaway. They're nose to tail.
Do you go high? Do you go low? John Forbes defends the inside lane. Vincent Sora trying to go for the crossover move. Just dove a little bit too far, but he's going to go for the massive one off the exit. The exit's going to be the key. Vincent Sora goes high. He goes low. They're side by side to the line. John Forbes wins.
Oh, man, great job by Forbes there. Just the little dip off of 4 kind of covered off the run where Sora just couldn't completely get to the quarter panel immediately, and that was exactly what he needed. Forbes back in victory lane.
John Forbes looking for the win, and he'll take it here tonight. That 11 was able to cut through the field cleaner and quicker than everyone else, and then it was just strictly defend as much as you can. Your winner from Daytona to start the season off, finally back into victory lane once again, and to finally get the win here at Auto Club, where he's had plenty of chances in the past. This 11 machine's got to be feeling good about this one.
No doubt, Sam. That was a hard-fought battle. Great run from the 11 team. Great run from the 15 and the 13, both to bring it up there. Seeing some love from his teammates and Cody Reed there. But Jesse Thornton bringing it home in the 4th position. Great frame. And Samuel Garcia in 7th. We had some great runs tonight for a few drivers.
We certainly did. And Joshua Stoll coming away with the top 10 finish for himself after some of the amazing saves and avoidances that he had to do here tonight. But congratulations to our top 3. Going to be John Forbes, Vincent Sora, Cedric Hunter. Great job for themselves. Your Moarcast 5 winner is going to be Samuel Garcia. And for Jesse Thornock, he comes away with his best finish of his ISRC career. Congratulations to all those drivers. But for us, we will step away. When we come back, we have the post-race show. We'll talk to our top 3 and a spotlight driver right after this. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show for the ISRC Lariat Productions Truck Series. Tonight was race number 9 of Season 7 for your Moarcast 210 at Auto Club. Had a wild start of right on the immediate start of the race as we went green. We had our first caution of the day. We were scattered with them throughout, but it gave us such a great finish at the end. We went green for the majority of it. And we got to see a fantastic finish between John Forbes and Vincent Sora. We got to talk to our victor first as we head to victory lane. We bring up the 11 machine to John Forbes. John, I want to finish for yourself. You're back into victory lane once again this season for your second time. How are you feeling after that one? Because it looked like you had to defend the world there late.
Yeah, it's a big relief. I've been wanting to win here. I don't know if I've ever won here in iRacing, but just what was my home track before they tore it down. But I've been wanting to win here for so long in this league, and finally got it done. So it's just a big relief. I think I finished like second, then I got wrecked the next time we were here in another season, and then like fourth. And I could have won last season, but it came down to fuel, and I didn't save enough. So finally had something go our way with not having the fuel run at the end there. Had to fix some damage. I didn't know how the truck was going to be after that wreck. It lost the fender. Like, I thought it was probably going to be hurt pretty bad on speed, and it definitely wasn't the same. But with the fresh tires, I was able to drive to the front. And then I was like, okay, I just need to get as big of a lead as possible. Came down to that, or did that. Got a second out in front, and then I want to say like 15 to go. I saw Vinny was there. He passed for second, and he was just kind of slowly coming with Cedric, and was taking the wrong line for a little bit, and then I was kind of like studying what he was doing. Started to kind of mirror block that way, but then there at the end, it was just so tight. They just used up the tires, and it just those last couple laps, like, all right, it's what I got. There's nothing I can do. I can just keep running my line, and it got real close there. Vinny definitely had an opportunity, but I was able to defend it and finally get it done.
Yeah, what a job by you, John. Congrats on the win, man. That was a hard-fought victory. Also, second one of the season after that win at Daytona. So, only 3 races to go in the regular season. How important do you think this win here is for your momentum for, going back to get another championship, man? Because it's been a super competitive season throughout the whole league.
Yeah, it's been competitive, and it's just I'm there to win pretty much every week. It's just I either make the wrong strategy call or something like that. So it's just going to be using your brain really, and just making the right calls on these stops and stuff. Maybe getting a little risky, but it just depends on the situation. Just making the right calls and stuff to get these done and finished at the end of it. But yeah, definitely competitive season. Really, the whole night tonight too is just an example of that. I mean, side by side, we were 3-4 wide, like 40 or 30 laps into that run for the green flag stop, and yeah, it's gonna show what's gonna go on in the rest of the season as well.
I mean, yeah, the rest of the season is going to be a crazy one. I mean, John, for yourself here tonight, we saw that drafting was so important. What was it like driving around your teammates here tonight? Because it seemed like at moments you guys were trying to work together. At others, it was trying to figure out who's going to be the leader going through the field.
Yeah, it was a little bit of both. I mean, all of our teammates here at SDR, they were pretty conservative tonight with letting me by and stuff. Whether it's just like them going to the inside and then I have to take the run. But whenever they were in front of me, like obviously I was trying to push. They were trying to push me. Same with like Thomas Green, a few of the guys that I'm pretty good friends with here. We were definitely helping each other when we could. Cedric for a while there before Vinny got up there, and then I was like, oh man, now he's pushing Vinny. So it was a lot of team games going on. That's just the style of racing you get at these drafting tracks. Same with like Michigan and stuff too. So yeah, again, that's another example. Just what's going to go on the rest of the season. Just these everyone's working for their own team, and it gets a little tricky sometimes, especially when they're all fast. Like we are at SDR, we're always towards the front. So it's just got to play the strategy right with it.
Well, John, congratulations on this win. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, just got to thank JD Performance being on the truck all season. eFlex Fuel as well, a great partner. And Justin for getting this great scheme together for the month of October here. And we started off in the best way possible. Thank you guys for the fantastic broadcast.
Well, thank you for giving us such a fantastic show to cover. That will be your winner here tonight for the Moarcast 210 at Auto Club. His second win of the season, going to the 11 machine of John Forbes. John, enjoy this one, and good luck next week at New Hampshire.
Thank you, guys.
As we move from victory lane, we go down to second place talk to the driver that was on the charge there late, and maybe if you had one more lap, he could have been there to take the victory. We've got Vincent Sora with us. Vinny, what a run for yourself here tonight. You had a lot of work going through the field and one of our biggest movers of the evening. Man, how are you feeling after this run here tonight and just coming up shy for the win?
Yeah, I'm happy that I got the finish I did, but I hate losing, and second sucks. Especially when you're that close. But with the night that I could have had, it's way better than what I could have imagined. I completely sold my qualifying lap going down into one. I just pushed way too hard and I had to lift really big. And then I drove through the field early and realized that I had good pace. And on that long green run before we made the pit stop, I drove up to the lead and I felt really good. I don't know how it would have played out if it went green, and I'm kind of glad that we didn't get to find out because I think there were a couple of guys that might have been on a strategy that we wouldn't have been able to touch. So, yeah, unfortunate with that one yellow coming out of 4. I don't think I did anything wrong. 4 wide was optimistic there, and the guy on the bottom just didn't make it work. But thankfully, I came out pretty clean. I just had some hurt tires, and I had to save a little bit of fuel there on that last run. But if I would have went a little bit earlier, I don't know if I would have ran out of fuel or what would have happened. But I don't know. One got away tonight for sure.
Definitely was a close one, Vinny. I'll tell you that much, man. It was a fun one for us to watch up here. But, like you said, you're involved in that incident there. Do you feel like that had any effect on the truck? I mean, we know John Forbes, he had an incident he had to get fixed up, same with your teammate Cedric Hunter. So y'all all three up there were kind of limping around with a little bit of hurt trucks. But, did you feel anything with your 360?
Not really. I mean, just the tires. I had a little bit of damage that I got fixed all the way. But yeah, the tires were hurt a good bit, and Cedric and I spent the first portion of that last run just saving, trying to get even with the guys ahead of us. And I think we saved too good because once we went, the guys ahead of us had completely fallen off, and we just ran out of time at the end. So yeah, I definitely could have played things a little bit different tonight and maybe got that win. But like I said, with how things could have gone, I'm happy with a P2.
Vinny, looking at how the rest of the season's going to go, we've got tonight at New Hampshire, we have the Charlotte Oval, and then we're going to Old Atlanta. How are you feeling knowing that the playoffs are right around the corner and you're having this great battle between yourself and John Forbes for the regular season championship?
I feel good. The tracks ahead are, I think, going to be pretty good ones for me, and hopefully I can get a couple more wins and just some decent finishes. That's all this format's about, man, is just racking up these points and being consistent, and I feel like that's what I'm really good at. But John's the same, so I think everybody needs to stay tuned because him and I are probably going to have a really, really good battle for the rest of the season.
We hope that it's just as close as we saw here tonight, Vinny. Congratulations on second, and before we let you go, the floor's now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, first off, John, for holding me off there at the end. That was a really good race, and I'm excited to go back and watch it later. Shout out to you guys for broadcasting. Shout out to all the league admins, and shout out to my teammates.
Well, thank you for giving us such a great show to watch there, Vinny. Enjoy that second place finish, and good luck next week at New Hampshire.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
As we move from second place, we go down to third. We get to talk to the driver that at one moment we thought was going to be battling for that lead position, but ultimately it came away in third place. We got Cedric Hunter with us. Cedric, you tried your best. It looked like you were trying to figure out the timing to fight and go after John for the win, but how are you feeling coming away with third here tonight?
I feel pretty good. I guess in the last caution or last or second to last caution there, the big wreck that I was involved in, it's I shredded the tires basically in that wreck, and I figured that we were going to keep wrecking, and so I didn't swap out tires. And so to start off that run, I probably had about 6 or 7% worse tires than everybody else in the field, which was nice. But yeah, feel pretty confident, I guess, about finishing in the top 5. Would have loved to try to battle that, I guess, for the win coming to the end, but I stuck to the strat of, I guess, just saving a set, and it didn't pay off. But I feel pretty good though about the top 3. It could have been a lot worse.
Definitely could have been a lot worse for you, Cedric. But take us to the long run speed tonight, because it seemed like immediately from the beginning. I mean, yes, you had speed to take off the runs, but it just seemed like from the beginning of the drop of the green flag tonight, you were on it. So what was up with that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the last 2 years or so, like I've been really good at this track and I've kind of figured it out. Tonight it drove a little bit different than what I've experienced with other cars, but I would say like it was really really tight and it never got loose, unfortunately. But I had the brake bias dialed way back to the rear, and on the long run, I used up a little bit of brake, and I think that helped. And I think Vinny and I, for a while, we were like the only two guys that really stuck to the bottom line pretty much the entire run, and I think that also helps to save tires. So, um, I would have loved to redo that last run. I think there was a bunch of stuff that Vinny and I could have done differently. Uh, I guess to give ourselves a better position to be able to compete, but yeah, long run was good tonight, and I can't believe I'm gonna say this because it never happens, but my short run was actually pretty good, like you mentioned. So, I just kind of pulled out my inner Vegas for WSSR, and hopefully I can continue that going forward and adapt a new style, I guess, of racing.
Well, moving forward, we're heading to New Hampshire, Charlotte Oval, and then the old Atlanta configuration. What is your confidence level heading into those next three races? As looking at the points that being updated after tonight, you are officially the biggest mover in points, and you're pretty much solid as long as you just have decent races at the end of this regular season. You're into the playoffs. So, what is the mentality for these final three races?
I feel pretty good as Charlotte. Like I feel like I can go out there and win it. I guess Atlanta, not so much. I'm not that great. It's probably one of my weaker amount of house, but and then New Hampshire, I guess, is pretty good usually for me. So we're gonna go out here. We're gonna try to compete, try and hopefully win a stage. I highly doubt that's gonna happen, but try and compete for wins because at this point I just need playoff points, man. Like as happy as I am to make the playoffs, going in there with 0 points, it's not very comforting. So I'll do what I can, and hopefully we can make a push here for, I guess the championship.
Well, we're hoping for the best for you, Cedric. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
I appreciate it, man. I want to give you guys a huge shout out. Uh, I mean, I've been telling you guys this for forever, but you guys are the best. And I truly mean that. Shout out to my teammates. Obviously, Vinny finishing second, Larry top 10 after kind of a shaky start on his part. So he bounced back great. He drastically improved throughout the race. So, and unfortunately, Danny got caught up with something. So we'll all bounce back. We obviously have to try and compete for the team championship, and hopefully we can win that since we only have 3 weeks to go. So. And thanks to all the drivers for coming out tonight.
Well, that will be the 13 machine, Cedric Hunter, coming away with third place finish. Congratulations, Cedric, on that finish, and good luck next week at New Hampshire.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
As we move from our third place position, our spotlight driver, not too far behind, going to be in fourth place when we bring in the 20 machine of Jesse Thornock, who comes away. Congratulations to say it, Jesse. You come away with your best career finish in the ISRC Truck Series. Last season, you got two of your best career finishes. Finally come back and you even do better. Fourth place. How are you feeling after that incredible performance here late in tonight's race?
Hey guys. Yeah. It was good. It was good. It was I'm kind of bummed. I wish I could have had a little bit more. I think I don't know. Who knows if I had a shot or not, but it was a fantastic run. A little bit of a challenge. I put in a new computer this weekend, which I mean is a great thing, but none of my stuff is set up, so none of my buttons and no comms or nothing. So didn't have a spotter, couldn't hear the chat or anything, but made the best of it, and it was great.
Well, Jesse, I'll tell you that's fantastic to hear, man. I'm really, really proud of you for bringing home fourth night. Like Sam said, your best career finish here at ISRC. I mean, that one was on straight up just like merit and pace, man. I mean, we saw you driving up through. You quickly made a bunch of spots up early on that restart, and then you kind of got stuck in the middle there. How hard was it to kind of stick with it when it kind of got stuck on the bottom there for a little bit, and then you found your way back forward?
Yeah, that's the moment that I'm kind of bummed about, because I mean I think I was sixth or fifth maybe, and then got stuck there on the bottom and kind of got freight trend, fell back to about 11th I think, and then had to work back through. Yeah, that was tough, and I felt like that was kind of when I had to use up my stuff, and I just, was hoping maybe there'd be a caution or something. I knew I wasn't going to have enough after that, but yeah, that was fantastic. It was really good to get out there, and I really like Auto Club, as well as Michigan. So some of my favorite tracks.
I mean, Jesse, we've been seeing you since season 1 of the ISRC Truck Series. What is it like being able to perform like this, knowing that this is one of the most competitive seasons that we've ever seen the ISRC Truck Series be?
Yeah, that's that was really cool. Obviously those guys are up at the front every week, so I usually see them back in like 15th when they're coming back through the field or something. But it's fun to be able to get up there and race with them. I think I don't race with them every week, but because I've been there a long time, I'm able to get respect from them, and I just race them with respect too. So that's always good, because it's when you're not up there every week, it's a little bit intimidating to be running up there, knowing that you can make a mistake, then they will not make one probably. So but yeah, that was a lot of fun. Good to be up there on merit, and yeah, I wish we ran Auto Club each week.
It would certainly be exciting to watch. But Jesse, congratulations on a top 5 finish, 4th place here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout out.
Yeah. Just to my team, I couldn't be on with them tonight because my Discord wasn't working. But yeah, it's always fun running with those guys. I've been running with those guys, since 2020, and that's a lot of fun. About once a week, and it's actually my wife's birthday today, so I appreciate that she allowed me to be here for this. I kind of made a big deal about it because I knew it was going to be a good race for me. So, we took care of everything we needed to take care of all day, so I could be here for a couple hours. But happy birthday to her, and appreciate you guys broadcasting and sticking around.
Well, thank you for giving us such a great show to call. Congratulations, Jesse, on your career best finish. Enjoy this one, and good luck at New Hampshire next week.
All right, thank you very much.
As that will be your 4th place finisher here tonight in the 20 machine of Jesse Thornock, and that will be our last of our 4 interviews here tonight. That was your top 4. Big thanks to all those drivers, being John Forbes, Vincent Soar, Cedric Hunter, and Jesse Thornock. As we get ready to take a look at our unofficial results for tonight, we saw the charge, we saw the fights, but it's going to be going to Snowy Desert once again. It's John Forbes getting his 2nd win of the season for the 11 machine, with Vincent Sora 2nd, 3rd being Cedric Hunter, 4th it's Jesse Thornock, Nick Crawford able to come away in 5th, with Joshua Canada 6th being our stage winner. Then in 7th, Sam Garcia, our Moarcast 5 winner of the night, and a little bit of cash for the 50 machine. Justin Campbell come away in 8th. We didn't really get to talk about that 9 machine. We didn't really talk a lot about Larry Yingling in 9th either, as both of them had a quiet, great top 10 finish. And Joshua Stovall, I know the chat's happy about it, come away with a top 10 finish.
Solid top 10 there for those guys. And Michael Lure there in the 99, getting 11. Tyler England there in the 19, getting 12. So great runs. Even Martin Morales there in the 14th position on that great run. So that's some great runs for those drivers. Brayton Lasher, his drive out here, Robert Spick, he's going to come on 17th. So a much better run than Road America. But as we go farther down the list, this is where the nights the drivers that are kind of upset maybe coming out here and saying what could have been here at Auto Club. It was a unfortunate ending for the likes of Presley Sawyer there. The 12th, he has to come to pit road. Same for the 18, Thomas Green, 25, Cody Reed. Those drivers all finished down in the 20s. Green's able to hold on for 15th at least, but just an up and down night for a lot of drivers. It started even right off the beginning there, Sam, with drivers getting involved.
Yeah, went green, and then within moments, we had our first caution of the day come out, and it certainly was chaotic, but the fields, most of them happy that we got the night over with. It was a crazy one overall, but we also got craziness throughout the week as we got more races to give to you. As here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we're known for giving you 4 races throughout the week. Well, 2 of them are not going to be shown here this week, as we've got coverage tomorrow night. Do not want to miss it, as we are into the playoffs for the next level for the Challenger Racing League in the Next Gen Cup car, as they head to that Talladega race. I think that's going to be some fun racing action, our first real sight of true Super Speedway racing for the league. Curious if we're going to see any newcomers show up, or will the old dogs be able to keep themselves in the victory lane? WSSR, they are off until November. We are back first week in November. Do not want to miss when we see Season 10 come to a start. And the hurricanes have been happening. They've been striking Florida. We are taking Thursday off once again. So a lot of the drivers for the Shoney's Doghouse Cup Series will not be able to show up for the races. They're dealing with that. Again, thoughts and prayers to all those affected by the past hurricane that just hit. And thoughts and prayers going out to the families that are trying to prepare for this upcoming hurricane. Again, not giving us coverage Thursday night. So only 2 races this week, but we're back next week. We're at ISRC as New Hampshire, they thought tempers were bad tonight. Next week, last time we were in New Hampshire, Zach, we had top drivers that were very upset for weeks on end after the way that race concluded.
Oh yeah, that track is always known to be the Magic Mile, the flat paper clip of a track that's very similar to Martinsville. It's gonna be fun. I cannot wait until we get there and see how these drivers can go to battle, because it's getting down to crunch time.
It certainly is. 3 more races left in the regular season to figure out who will be racing for a championship. The points have been updated, and the gap, well, not as big as it once was. Martin Whitley, our cutoff driver now, 12 points over Joshua Canada and only 17 points over Samuel Garcia. Those drivers know they got a tough fight if Mark Whitley shows up again, because he's the favorite to win every race. But it certainly makes the fight to get into the playoffs points-wise a little bit more doable. But for us here this evening, I want to say thank you to the viewers that got to chat. I know a lot of them are Joshua Stovall fans. You've got a great finish here this evening. But for myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, for Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else from Freaky Fast Broadcasting, we say thank you for watching, for commenting, for liking, subscribing, and letting us know that you're enjoying the show that we give you here on 4 nights a week. We're happy to give you all this coverage. We hope to see you on our next broadcast, as tonight of the ISRC Truck Series, John Forbes gets his 2nd win of the season. It's been a fun one. Don't want to miss next week as they go to New Hampshire. They're going to be beating and banging, and you don't want to miss that drama that mounts up. But if you cannot wait until then for more racing action, we got you covered tomorrow night. It's the Challenger Racing League. They head to Talladega. Don't want to miss the Super Speedway. Who will win? You'll have to find out tomorrow night on our next Freaky Fast broadcast.